Bears bye week. You know, it's been a season where I thought we'd be 11-6. I've said that a million times, and here we are at 3-10. It's the bye week, and there's nothing to talk about this week with the game. So tonight we're not going to have Dan on the show, and we're not going to have Cliff on the show either because there's no Cliff notes to be had for a game that wasn't played. But we do have a very special surprise coming up in just a second, and we're going to break down free agents. We're going to talk about the Bears players individually, highs and lows of the season. We're going to get into free agency, then we're going to get into, I should say, Bears free agency, and then NFL free agency, and then the draft. So, Kitty, let's kick this shit off.
Bears country. Where is it? It's in your man cave. Your home. Your car. Your local bar. Your city, state. It's across the world. It's in your heart. And it's here. The Bears Country Podcast.
Welcome to Bears Country Podcast on the Barroom Network. It's a bye week. I know that everyone is kind of down, probably licking their wounds from the season, and so we thank you very much for joining us. Tonight, we're not going to be joined with Dan Aguirre and Cliff Victoria. We have kind of a special guest that we're bringing on tonight, and we're going to talk about the entire team, player by player, and we're going to give them a grade. Then we're going to go through the Bears free agency, what players are going to be coming up in free agency from the Bears, and then the free agency in the NFL, who's available to take the positions that we might need. And so we'll kind of have some interaction with you and the fans. We want to know what you guys think, and it's going to be a lot of fun. From there, we'll take the draft on, and we'll just kind of talk about it. There's a lot of speculation, so you can't really talk about the draft right now. But there's enough players that have announced they're coming out that we can at least have some fun with it on a down week. So tonight, our guest is Nomad. Nomad, how are you doing, my friend?
Man, I almost forgot we were in the bar room, man. So I had to slip out for a second and run and get some goddamn booze. So I'm ready to go, man. Let's take this shit to another level, man. Let's go ahead and give people what they're looking for.
I've got my wine. Our friends got us these like a 25-pack bottle of wine, kind of like the little chocolate thing you used to open for Christmas. You know, the countdown days, up the days of Christmas, you open it and pull out your little piece of chocolate. And this one has wine bottles in it. And I'm not going to lie, we kind of got behind. So we've been catching up tonight. Nomad, great to have you back on the show. And let's talk some Bears, man.
Good to be back on, man. How you want to start this thing, man? Where you want to go first?
Dude, I want to know we haven't talked the entire season. So I want to know, like, other than Twitter, I want to know what's your highest moment of the season and what's your lowest moment of the season? We'll start with the highest.
You know, the highest is I was caught up when you said that to me before in pre-production. I got two things, man. One of them is it's kind of funny. Justin almost sent Deshaun Elliott to the pearly gates and shit. He bodied that motherfucker on that touchdown run in Detroit. I thought he died.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, but that one, that one, but I think the most encouraging thing that happened in the season I didn't see, I heard. It was that story about Justin taking and falling on the sword for the team, and they stopped him. They're like, no, hell no, bro. You good. We got you. Don't even worry about it. That right there signaled and told me a lot about where this thing is going and how they feel about him and what is the potential moving forward. When you got the quarterback that everybody rallies around, the veterans, everybody, you cooking with grease right there.
You're damn right, man. That's an excellent, for you to pick that is, I kind of forgot about that because mine is different than that. But that is an amazing point to make, is that is really the highlight of the season when you're talking about when this team really, truly, absolved Justin Fields into being their leader. Like, Justin Fields is the leader. And when he came out and said that, and the defense was like, no, stop right there. That right there says it all about our quarterback. And for the first time, my cousin said this, for the first time, we have a quarterback who is not having his confidence destroyed by the national media. And that goes a long way when you're saying, Rex Grossman was the talk of the league in 2006. He was in the first 7 games. He was the MVP candidate. And then that Monday night game against the Cardinals where everything just fell apart, and then the small hands thing came out, and then the confidence got broken from there, and then we all know what happened. And now here we are with Justin Fields, and the national media and the local media, everyone is eating crow. And we've talked about this from the beginning of our shows on Bears Country Podcast, that they were going to eat crow, and here they are. And it's just fucking awesome to see, because we have our guy moving forward, and now we can actually move forward with plans around him, and it's so refreshing.
What's funny is to think about the some of our first few podcasts, and we were talking about that stuff heavily, and it's I haven't gone back and watched them, but I know what we were talking about in those shows, and it's just ironic how we were batting down all the negativity. Oh, we don't know yet. We're not sure. We need to go out. And now look where we are. Right. Not only do we have the quarterback that we've been waiting for 40-something years, he's a fucking warrior. I mean, an absolute warrior.
You're
and
right.
They know it. His teammates know it. And they were not going to let him fall on that sword and take responsibility for everything. They just appreciated the fact that he was willing to.
They could see it from game one. And we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit here, because as we get into the show, I want to show some game one all 22 plays of the offensive line as opposed to Justin Fields, and then the final game that we just watched against the Packers, all 22 offensive line as it opposes to Justin Fields. So we'll get into that in a little bit. And, they have rallied around him from game one and all the way, the slide. From that moment on, like that game on, they've rallied around this guy, and it's proven to be what we all thought it was. I mean, I know, Nomad, you and I both called 11-6.
Right.
We were both wrong. But it almost feels like we're not, right? It almost feels like we're 11-6 in a way, because we have those moral victories from what we have gotten from Justin Fields.
I mean, it's not like 11-6 wasn't possible during the season. No, we did not get those close wins. We lost those games, and 11-6 it flew out of the water pretty quick. But damn sure could have been. I mean, in a way, thinking about it now, looking back at it all, I'm kind of glad it happened. I'm kind of glad that it happened, because it's a lot of things I can get into detail-wise. You learn a lot about a team when you're losing. Mm-hmm. You learn a lot about a team when you're winning, but more so than anything when you're losing. And do your guys stick together? Do you have the glue people in your locker room to keep them together? And to me, and I know you probably feel the same way, if you could say nothing about this team and this season, they don't fucking quit. They don't quit. They don't give up on each other. ain't nobody going out there and getting their ass kicked all over the field. I mean,
No.
nobody's just blowing us out. And so what
No.
that's going to turn into next year is we're probably more than likely going to be dominant in those situations and win those games.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That kind of leads us into this next segment that I want to do, which is the breakdown of every player on the team. Just kind of give them like a quick grade. If we go across the board, right? So if we start with left tackle, let's just start with offensive left tackle. What's your grade on Braxton Jones? From an A to an F.
Got to give him a B plus.
I'm gonna write all this down too. I forgot to get a paper ready.
Yeah, you got to give him a B plus because, I mean, you really if you want to be really critical about Braxton Jones, other than the bull rush, where could you be really critical of him about? Maybe it's some of his email. He had a lot of undisciplined plays so far this year. I ain't gonna say a lot, but a handful of holds, a few offside penalties. But other than that, man, Braxton Jones is technically he's damn near veteran technically. The way he plays, he learns from the things that people are telling him, the mistakes he's making on the field. His problem is, and it's a big problem. Don't overlook it like it's a small thing. No, it's a big deal that he can't anchor well on a bull rush. So a heavier guy, you're 280, 290, 300, 310 guys are going to drive him backwards.
Right.
And that's the issue that we're going to get into later on in the show as to the reasons why I think it's a possibility they may not be 100% sold on Braxton.
Even though you gave him a B plus as a rookie.
Yep.
Yep. I'm going to give Braxton Jones for a rookie, I'm going to give him a B plus too. I like that. I agree with that. I mean, for a rookie to come in at left tackle, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but he is a little bit lean in the lower body. Some people put on the weight in the ass. Some people put on the weight in the top. And we'll see if he can put on the weight in the ass that he needs moving forward, because I think that's what takes him from a B plus to an A plus, right? Or even into an A category is the lower body strength.
I mean, there are guys in the league right now that were able to strengthen their core lower body. And I gave you the comp last week, and that was Trent Williams. Exact same body type. Exact same body type. He's got sticks for legs almost, but he's a little bit thicker in the thigh than Braxton Jones. Lower leg, right. Exactly like Braxton Jones.
Right.
And he does a hell of a job. So
we'll get into that in a minute. So moving on to left guard. What do you grade Cody Whitehair so far on the season at left guard? I mean, I know he missed 4 games. Let's just talk about him in particular.
I got to give him a B plus too. I mean, he's not giving up pressures. He's not giving up sacks. He's not getting silly, undisciplined penalties or anything like that. I almost want to give him an A. But, I'm kind of a tough grader when it comes to that. You got to be getting ready to head into the Pro Bowl to get an A for me. So
I'm going to give Cody Whitehair an A minus from
good.
what he's done on the season, because
that's fair.
I think he's proven to be a solid veteran his entire career. And when he was out, you clearly saw that he was out. And when he was back, you clearly saw that he was back. So for me, that at least puts him in the A category. Let's move on now to Sam Mustipher. What do you think about Sam?
I'm giving him a C plus.
A C plus.
I'm giving him a C plus. Sam Mustipher is, and I know, and I said this last time, he's everybody's favorite target. It's easy to pick on him. And if you watch Sam Mustipher, his tape, if you watch enough of it, I tell you what you won't find is if it's not a really heavy defensive tackle, let's say like your Dexter Lawrence or somebody of that nature, Sam Mustipher does a pretty good job keeping him off of. But when it's a heavy guy like that, I don't give a damn who you are. Almost every center in the league is going to need help with a guy like Dexter Lawrence. He's just that big and that strong. You know, other than that, I think some of his pass sets, man, dude, I mean, that's really the only criticism I got of Sam Mustipher, man. He's just seemed like he's just getting better to me.
He is. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, in the beginning, if the bye week was after 7 games, I would have said he was a C- or a D+. But I mean, I think that I'm willing to give him a B- grading just for the way that he's developed within the system, and he has progressed and gotten better through it. I mean, he this last game, we're going to kind of get into that a little bit later. We're going to show the first game, some clips from the first game, all 22, and some clips from the last game, all 22. And we'll kind of be able to talk about, Sam Mustipher in that realm and some of the other players that we're talking about too. And that'll kind of give us a grade from the first to the final game that we just watched. I think there's so many clips you can take. It's too much work. So just to take a couple of clips from the first game to this game, I think will be enough to kind of take some doubt out of fans' minds that Sam Mustipher is not really a problem like we thought he was. He's something that I think we can. By the way, his contract is up. We'll get into that too. So, his development over the course of the season, I think, has been noteworthy, and I'm going to give him a B-, dude, just because of where he went from the fan base's perspective to now. And I think that's worthy of him getting a B- grade, in my opinion, for right now. I mean, shoot me or not, but not in real life. But,
just something right quick.
Please.
Cornelius Squall's in there, man. Me and Cornelius, he's a real deal Bears fan right there. He's diehard. I talked to him and almost seemed like 20 chats. I always talk to Cornelius, and I'll tell you why.
Same here.
I'll tell you why they didn't turn to Dieter. It's because center is a more of a cerebral game than people give credit to. It could be. I mean, just if you listen, I don't know if you had time to listen to what Sam Mustipher had to say in his presser today, but it's a lot going on at that line of scrimmage that needs to be adjusted to, and I'm sure they've given Dieter some run at practice. I want to fucking see Dieter on the field, but it's probably a good reason why he's not. It's probably a pretty good reason why he's not, and you have to be able to adjust protections at the line of scrimmage. If let's just say Justin didn't spot something, you have to stop and reset it's a lot that goes on at that line of scrimmage. And Dieter has only been playing football for 3 years college and 3 years now in the pros. So I mean that's not a hell of a lot of football. So I'm not saying Dieter can't get to that point. I'm saying I'm pretty sure they think he's not at that point right now. But
I like how Cornelius ends it, but Mustipher has gotten better. Because you're right, he has. Yeah. I mean, that's the reason why. Mustipher has gotten better, along with probably exactly what you just said. Say Nami, don't understand all the Mustipher hate. I'm sure you meant to say. But I mean, it's true. I mean, he's had some bad moments, but overall, when you're talking about an undrafted free agent, this guy has given every fucking thing that he has to this team. And what's up, Foster Covers? And if you can't appreciate everything that he has given to this team, and then look at the improvement he has made over the course of time that he has been on this team, then you're just a hater. I think that we all need to have some appreciation for what Sam has done for the Bears and his career with them, because now we'll get into it later, he's a free agent. So what do? We'll get into that in a little bit, but I think that It warrants some conversation.
You know what, man? This is what could happen. All the signals I keep hearing out of Hallis Hall and people talking about Sam. I'm talking about the coaches. You know, everybody talks about Sam, and they can't get enough of the dude. And
Right.
Sam, you got to remember, Sam Mustipher has only been in the league a few years.
And the previous coaching staff they felt the same way.
And look at it, he's still here. He's still improving. You guys gonna fuck around and run that guy out of town, and he's gonna fuck around and be a Pro Bowler on somebody else's team. At least for right now, we can keep him here and be a good qualified backup and see what Lucas Patrick had to bring to the table, because
if he
free good
exactly if he gets injured again next year, at least we know what we have in Sam, right?
The man of steel, the dude is always available, never hurt. Let me knock on wood. He has those bad plays where he gets knocked out of the way or thrown off balance and gets Justin sacks, man. You know, he's young and learning just like everybody else, but I like what I'm seeing. He's way more of a plus to me than he is a minus, and I may not be in the majority with that.
I agree with you 100% on that, Nomad. Let's move on to right guard. Do we? Yeah, just. What kind of an A is it? Is it an A minus, an A plus, an A?
A minus only because he missed some time and wasn't available. Only because of that. He got you could tell his back is kind of still bothering him slightly because he kind of got folded a couple times last week. Did you see those plays when he got kind of knocked over?
No, surprisingly, because I went through all the tape to make videos. I'll have to look at that again, but I did not see that. Guys, what do you guys think? What is A to F? What is Tevin Jenkins at right guard? What do you guys think?
Oh,
Cliff.
What is he talking about?
Hope you guys aren't playing Kyler Murray tonight. He just cut it off. Oh, he's talking to his fantasy football friends. That's why Cliff is not on here tonight, because Cliff, I forgot to mention that Cliff is very involved in his fantasy football league right now, and Cliff is just going to move on to go win his fantasy football league, and he'll be on Bears Country Podcast on our channel coming soon on the Last Call at Hallis Hall episode that we do on Thursday nights ish. But we're talking about right guard right now. Tevin Jenkins obviously you're saying he is an A minus. I'm going to say he's an A minus too. What do you guys think? So Ryan Schlesinger says A minus. St. Omni says A minus. J Rock says B plus. I'm going to say A minus too. I completely agree with you guys.
Think about this.
Everyone
First
here.
time ever playing the position.
Mm-hmm.
First time ever.
I know.
And he's in the NFL doing it for his test run, and he's sniffing the Pro Bowl.
And he had a bad back last year. When you're talking about a back issue, if you're a tackle, I would expect that to be less of an issue than if you're a guard, because as a guard, you're standing somebody up and bending, right? As a tackle, you're getting out into space and trying to hold people off for the most part. As a guard, you're getting back and bending everything and trying to, use your strength to push them off. And the fact that he's excelled at that with a back issue last year, easily a fucking A minus. The he's going to be a Pro Bowler in the next, well, there's no Pro Bowl, but he'll be an All-Pro coming forward.
I don't see any reason not to have him in there this year. He's one of the best guards I've seen in the league.
So right tackle. We've had Larry Borum, we've had Riley Reif, we've had oh my goodness, what's his name? 72. The guy we got from the Raiders.
Leatherwood.
Thank you. Alex Leatherwood. So these are kind of three individual grades here, I would think, right? So let's start off with Larry Borum. A to F. What do you think? Guys in chat, let us know.
I'm giving him a D plus because he wasn't completely horrible, but he was just way too inconsistent. And
Okay.
y'all should give him a D minus, man, because some of that it was just
Wait,
sometimes it was just bad, man. He couldn't capture the edge, man.
Are you changing it to a D minus?
No, I'm gonna give him D plus. I ain't gonna hate on him, man. His mama kind of be out there. She be done made a video cussing me out. I don't want no smoke.
Yeah, don't piss off his mama. All right, so let's go to Riley Reef. What are you doing here?
Man, Riley Reef gets a solid B for me. Because I can't really say anything bad about him. He hasn't played perfect football, so I can't give him an A. But I can't see anything to bring him under a B, maybe a B minus. Mm-hmm. And that's if I wanted to be picky, but I don't see any cause for concern with him at all.
So Cornelius Squalls is giving Borum a C and Reef a C plus. I'm sorry. So you said I gave you a B. So let me just do my Larry Borum. My Larry Borum is a that's a tough one, man. I'm gonna give him a C minus. And then I'm going to move on to Riley Reef. I'm going to give him a fucking solid B. How about that?
That's fair.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, Alex Leatherwood.
With the small sample size, huh?
Yeah.
How about this?
I have some plays to show you.
Well, how about this? Let's just add this in for some context and color. He could have. He was a first round pick, and he got cut. He could have come in this place and stunk it up and really pouted and made I should be a starting left. He could have came in here with that kind of attitude.
Right.
Didn't seem like he did. Seemed like he came. He seemed like he came in open and receptive, and allowed himself to be coached. Seems like they broke him down, took the time and broke him down, and they reconstructed him and gave him the opportunity to show what he can do on the right side of the football with a different technique and a different coaching method. And to me, the sample size I've gotten, I thought was at least a B minus.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. I think that Chris Morgan, he's showing what he can get out of our offensive linemen. I'm starting to really believe in that guy, and you're seeing it with you giving a B minus to Leatherwood in the 12 plays he had all season. I mean, he looked the part, didn't he? And you gave Braxton Jones a B plus. So if Braxton Jones a B plus and Leatherwood a B minus moving forward as our bookend tackles, I think that's something we can work with. I'm going to finish that up by saying I'm going to give Leatherwood a fucking solid A minus for what he did in that short period of time in that game. There was nothing that he allowed in that Packers game when he was in, and he held his own really, really well. It made me very excited to see what we have in this kid, and I know you're not that far off from me, but shit, we both talked. We had a podcast about him. You know, we know what this kid has, so you know he's coming up.
The part that excites me about him is, and the coaches is, I know we got something good going on in the coaching room in that offensive line room, because most of it is between the ears at first. You know, it's unlocking what the hell is going on in between his ears. What was he thinking when they're going in the film room and breaking down, his messed up film in Las Vegas. And somehow it seems like in this small sample size, they've gotten to the bottom of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're reconstructing what those errors was, and they're cleaning them up, man. And that's the part that's encouraging to me, is they've identified the in between the ear stuff, and he's gotten that behind him. That's what's encouraging to me.
I saw you say that on Twitter. They have broken him down, they've deconstructed him, and then rebuilt him. And I totally agree with you on that. And that's what they've done. It's fucking awesome to see. We're going to get into that a little bit later when we talk about free agents and stuff like that. And I mean, there might not be much to the offensive line. There might not be the need for any actual free agent signings, rather than just try to find a couple of players in the draft to build depth through. And then maybe you have a backup player like a Braxton Jones, backing Braxton Jones up. And maybe you have a backup player like, Alex Leatherwood backing him up because they might believe in him moving forward. We have 4 games left. There's going to be a lot more to find out what happens with that offensive line, because as we'll see later with some film, that offensive line played the best they have the entire season that last game. And boy, is it fucking exciting.
You know what, man? During the whole season thus far, there's only one person that really sent off alarms in my head. And he's the only person that's really been replaced the whole season, and that's Larry Bourne.
You are right about that. I agree with you 100% on that. Yes. All right, so let's talk about running back. So we have let's just talk about Khalil Herbert first. What's your grade on Khalil Herbert for the season so far? Even though he's missed 4 games.
He's getting a solid A out of me. You know what? A minus, because he hasn't been. You know what? He's gotten better at pass protection, and that was my only problem with him. It was something else in particular. He's gotten better with his hands.
Oh, his pass catching skills.
Yeah, so that was my only 2 problems with him in the off season going into this year, and he's shown me that he's improved those 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
And
I 100% agree,
because sometimes he misses a hole and gets a little bit impatient and kind of runs up a offensive lineman's back, and he doesn't make a play. So that's the only reason I'm going to give him an A minus. But other than that, highly impressed with him this year. And you see how bad the run game gets when he's not there.
Yeah. So, I mean, that kind of leads us into let's just skip past David Montgomery and go into Treston Ebner. What's your grade on him?
I'm gonna be fair.
Let's just say that Marv Levy says, let a rookie be a rookie, right? So let's just take that into account.
Well, I got to be fair. I don't want to be absolutely critical of him. So I'm gonna give him a solid D, and I'll tell you why. But his problems are not what people think they are. Oh, he's not the guy he's the same guy that we drafted. He's still as quick. He's still as fast. What's happening to him now is the game has sped up. And yes, and it's just happening fast for him. He doesn't. The line isn't the speed of the holes opening up are a little too slow for him, I guess. He's running to wide open spaces in college. So he's got it's just that reading and being patient. That's all it is. This shit's going to slow down even for him, and he's going to be more explosive. I don't know if he makes it here, but it's going to slow down for him. He's going to be an effective football player at some point. It's a matter of when.
I agree with you. I'm going to give him a D as well, and it's just a rookie thing. I personally think that I haven't seen the speed that I saw from him in college, but like you said, I think it has to do with a lot of just the learning. It's that process. And when you're thinking, you're not playing to the speed of the NFL. I mean, you can't play to the speed of high school if you can't think it correctly, right? So if you're not caught up with the NFL speed and the NFL game, it's gonna take you a little bit longer. It's gonna slow down for you eventually at some point. It's too fast for him now, I think, and then we'll start to see him probably by next year with another whole, 4 games. We're probably going to see a lot of trust in him during these next few games. And then into training camp, he'll probably be featured a lot. But the one thing I will say about him moving forward is that he just didn't seem to have that 4.29 speed. And I know it has a lot to do with, like we just talked about, the game is too fast right now for him. But I don't know, just some players you seem to see that, like even Velus Jones has not caught on yet, but you see the speed. And Treston Ebner is just, he hasn't hit it yet for me. And for those same reasons, I'm going to give him a D too.
He hasn't had open real estate to run into, so he can put the speed on display. And you see how down everybody is in the chat about him. I'm the same way. You have to be honest, man. The dude has looked terrible thus far this season. So I understand where they're at, but I'm going to guarantee you guys something this right now. Before the end of this season comes about, you're going to change your mind on Treston Ebner. He's going to make some plays. It's just a matter of time. He's going to make some plays. They're going to put him in space and give him a chance to accelerate and make big plays happen. And he's going to do that, and your views are going to change on him at some point.
And I'm seeing people in the chat here. Herbert T3P podcast, Herbert B+, J Rock, Ebner D-, Cornelius Squall, Ebner D, Cliff Victoria, Ebner D-. We're kind of all in the same category of the D's. I forgot to give my Khalil rating, and I'm going to give him a solid A. Just for, God, I should probably lower that because of his pass blocking, but.
It hasn't been bad, man. It hasn't been bad.
The reason why I want to give him an A is because when you put him in the game, it's like everything changes. They've kind of been methodical with how they're using Montgomery, and all of a sudden, boom, they put him in at the right series, and he gets these huge gains, and just he changes the game. And for that, I'm giving him an A.
They have to respect him because he can take it to the house on any play.
He fits that scheme that we're running on offense. That right. He's the 1-2 punch to Monty.
Yep.
Let's talk about Monty.
Oh.
What's your grade on Monty so far? Okay, Monty's coming into a contract season, so I think it's worth really kind of talking about what has Monty been worth to the team so far in this season. Do you remember what I said about David Montgomery in the preseason going into the season? How high? And I agree with you 1,000%. Yes.
I ain't gonna lie to you, man. He's let me down. I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that David Montgomery. I get that David Montgomery in spurts here and there, and it's not consistent enough for me. And what I'm giving him I'll give him a C-. I give him a C-.
Damn.
I'll be nice. I'll give him a solid C, man. He's just been average. He's an average running back right now at this point in the season. He hasn't given us anything special. He's had little spurts of some of that great David Montgomery. He has it in just that will and that drive in him, but it hasn't been enough of it. And so to me, I know I'm a little bit early. To me, that's what makes him expendable.
I want to know what you guys think in the chat right now. What do you guys think in the comments? Like, what is David Montgomery's grade for you, A to F this season? Because Nomad just gave him a solid C. TP3 podcast says he's a B. That's a good question. I'm going to say he has been a B-.
Back, man. He's been an average running back. I'm sorry, man, but C is average.
I know. The only reason why I'm giving him a B- is because of that run against the Patriots. And then, when you put him in the game, it's like everything changes. They have kind of been methodical with how they're using Montgomery, and all of a sudden, boom, they put him in at the right series, and he gets these huge gains, and just he changes the game. And for that, I'm giving him a B-. where he had like a 2-yard loss and he wormholed through like for an 8-yard gain. And it was one of the best runs I've seen him ever. One of the best runs I've ever seen any running back do. And that's the only reason why I'm not going to put him into the C category. So I'm going to keep him at a B-.
Man, you know what? You know how hard it is for me to be that critical of David. I'm David Montgomery and Roquan Smith. Man, I'll go to war for either one of them. It's that rough for me to have to say this kind of stuff out of my mouth. But I'm being honest. I know if I was looking at David Montgomery in his face right now, man to man, and I said, man, you've been average this year, I know he'll look me right back in my eye and say, you know what, man, you're right. I ain't been getting it done. He would have to say that. I
guarantee you he would. Fucking Justin Fields called him out in a press conference and said the running back didn't run his play right. He was talking about David. And, I mean, he shouldn't have called him out like that in public. But he didn't do it maliciously. I think he was just saying it like happenstancely. But you're right. It's
just when you're
right. So I'm giving him a B-. It could almost be a C+. You're going with a C. People in chat are giving him a B-, a B, a B. So let's move on to fullback. How about that? That's a fun one. Kari Blazingame. What's been going on over there, guys? What are your thoughts on Kari Blazingame?
Really? You want me to answer that for real, man?
Yeah, I do. We have to go through every player now. Come on. Right. He's also coming up to a free agency. He's a free agent after this season. So.
I got to give him a B+, man, because I haven't seen him get whiff on a block. I've seen him connect, and I've seen him actually destroy some dudes on some blocks. Actually, absolutely destroy some people. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen him miss an assignment. Really, I don't have any. There's really no reason not to give him an A, unless somebody saw some stuff that I haven't and noticed some things that I haven't. I don't know why I'm not giving him an A, so I'm just going to be B, solid B, just to be on the safe side.
Solid B. I'm going to give him a B+, because I don't know any reason why I can't give him an A either. I wish that the Bears would have so far used him more as a running back, like the Commanders game, right? We were on the goal line 3 times in that game and could not fucking score. So why didn't they just do like a fake running back handoff, fullback handoff, give it to Kari Blazingame, have him just pile through the line, have David Montgomery set the block for him. I mean, or even also Justin Fields set the block for him. He's the kind of guy that I would have liked to see used a little bit more in those situations this year, especially with all the goal line situations that have cost us games, where you would think, well, let's just try the old fake running back handoff, power back or fullback power. You know, thoughts?
He's Cornelius. Cornelius says it all right there. They don't use him enough, and
exactly.
They don't. I was expecting him to be more like use check in his usage with San Fran.
So was that.
They get him out in the flat in the play action, toss him the ball, and just let him plow people. I was expecting that, but after 4 games, we kind of got away from the play action game because it was teams were scheming to stop Justin on the play action. They were sending the edges up high, and they just went to that Baltimore Ravens type of offense where Justin was kind of doing the RPO thing, but I'm sure that was in the plans as they were developing the offense to get Blazingame more out there in the open and giving the ball in space and let him play that way. But they just kind of got away from it because Justin just took off and exploded in that different offense.
And that's one of the things that you mentioned on Bears Country Podcast when we had the last call at Hallis Hall last Thursday was the different offenses that we've seen them run, from the beginning of the season until now. It's more of a West Coast offense the last games that we've seen.
No, that was the that was the first 4 games of the season was more of the West Coast offense.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had it mixed around. Yes.
The Green Bay style of offense, and then
Right.
the last after that's been what they do in Baltimore a lot more often than the RPO
Right.
stuff, where
Right.
Justin can get that mesh point with the running back and either give it to him or take it away. They got that took off for him, and so they kind of got away from what Kari Blasingame would normally bring to the offense.
I like what Tao Hang here says. Do you really think Herbert could be a 20-plus carry game back the whole season, though? I don't. We going to need another quality back. And I almost feel like as we get into this free agency part of it, that maybe I don't think the Bears are going to go sign a free agent running back. But I could definitely see them letting him go and signing or, drafting someone, because there's some shit. If they can get Chase Brown out of Illinois this year, that'd be a great combination with Herbert. Not to say it's going to happen, but if they could, wow.
Toa's right, man, because no more you'll get in spots. It used to be that guys, an average would be a good running back's average would be 20 plus carries a game. Now, you got most teams carry 2 and 3 backs, and so if they get 12 to 15 carries a game, that's good for them. So do I think he's a bell cow back? No. For 20 plus games, no, not every game. No, he'll break down. Any back in this league will break down doing that. But what to your point about what is his name at Illinois? I forget his name all the time.
Chase Brown.
I'm gonna give him some high praise, man, because
Yeah.
there was a guy by the name of Priest Holmes that used to play at Kansas City some years back. Some of these people in this chat probably remember him. But he was the absolute best I had ever seen at the zone run game as a running back. I mean, his patience. They had a dominant offensive line, I'll grant you that. So that helped, but his patience behind that line and the way he stopped and accelerated through those gaps reminds me of the guy at Illinois. He is probably the best one I've ever seen at that running style in that type of offense since Priest Holmes. So he fits him, man. He's a steal.
He fits this offense perfectly too.
Yes, he does.
Perfectly. He would be a perfect complement to Khalil Herbert. We've both talked about how much we love David Montgomery from the beginning of the season, from training camp on. And I think we both kind of feel the same way. We both kind of graded him the same way. And I think his time is probably up with Chicago, especially with the position that they're in the draft, which we'll get into, trading down, more picks, all that kind of stuff. So let's go into tight end. Cole Kmet. What's your grade on Cole Kmet?
I'm giving
guys in chat.
Giving him a
B+.
plus.
Giving him a B+ too.
So much more improved, and I don't think. No, I'll be honest with you. I don't think Cole Kmet has improved. I think he's being highlighted now. I think it's just that he's being targeted more often. I think he's been pretty good the whole time he's been there. I never thought he was great. I still don't think he's great. I think he's good at what we need him to do in this style of offensive attack. But yeah, you got to give him his credit, man. That dude has been solid. I mean, solid. He's just as solid as Sam Mustipher right now.
J-Rock gives him a B too. Or you gave him a B+. J-Rock gives him a B. TP3 podcast gives him an A-. Okay. I'm going to give him a solid B. Because I think that he has improved dramatically. Sorry, Toa. I said your name wrong earlier. It's Toa. You give him a B to a B+. St. Omni says he's slow. I think we saw some of the hands that he has this season. He's been getting open in space. The Falcons game was a real good game for Kmet. So was the Dolphins game. I mean, he's had a lot of good games this year. He's finding his way within the offense, and he's getting better within it. And I think that's just I think it had a lot to do with the offense he was in moving into this season. And I think he's going to continue to get better at it. And that's why I gave him a B. I gave him a B plus. No, I'm sorry, a B, because I think by next season, with the comfort that he has built so far with Justin, by next year you could be talking about him being one of the top tight ends in the league, because no, he's not Travis Kelce, but he blocks as well as, or even better than, or as well than Kittle, and he might not have as good hands and route running skills as Kittle, but he's close enough to a Kittle that being a hometown kid, I'll take him. Just re-sign that kid ASAP and keep him on this team and let him develop, because he loves this team. He grew up on it. He grew up a fan of it. He's on it now. He's been developing it. He's gotten better and better every year. He's had a breakout year of sorts this year in a brand new offense. What's going to happen moving forward with the familiarity when it's there, So I love Kmet.
He's just so goddamn tough, man. He is tough. I seen him take some shots this year that I expected him to take this year, and he hopped up and came back to that huddle. Didn't tap his helmet. Didn't say, "Hey, man, give me a nope." He went right back to the huddle. So that's something that's tough, man.
That's the other thing when you compare or contrast him to Kittle, is that Kittle has been injured a lot, and so far he hasn't. He's been more durable. So I love Cole Kmet. So yeah, I think I'm giving him a B right now. I think it could almost be a B plus based on the past couple of seasons from where he has gone from to now. But I'm going to stick with a B because the season's not over yet. We have 4 more games to play, and let's see what this kid can do. Because I think the Bears are going to open up the offense a little bit more in the passing game, and I think it has to do with the offensive line that they might have secretly found in this past couple of weeks.
You know what he's trending like to me, man? You want me to tell you?
Please.
He reminds me so much of Gronk, it ain't even funny. Just a machine out there, man. He just Iron Man. When he gets the ball in his hand, he can absorb the punishment, get on back up, and still be pumped up and get the team. I mean, he reminds me of Gronk. You could tell that he focused his game after.
You know what the difference between him and Gronk is? Like, Gronk kind of has that, like, look to him. Like, hey, I just over here, like, playing football. But Cole Kmet, he looks like fucking Ashton Kutcher. He's a good-looking dude. And he doesn't have it, like, look to him.
So meathead. He
hasn't had his bell rung as many times as Gronkowski has. I think that he's could be a better Gronk.
He's a definition of Chicago tough, man. I mean, that dude grew up around here. He knows what it is around here. He gets it. Dude, you got to go out there and be tougher than a motherfucker out there. And
grew up a huge Bears fan. His whole family a huge Bears fan. Can you imagine what it must be like to be him? Like, he's giving it everything he has.
Tough as an old man's toenails.
And he'll be crusty as one in a few years, right?
Hey, you get your money's worth out of that dude, man. That dude is going whatever play he needs to make, whether it's in line blocking, whether it's slipping out on a screen, whether it's going down on the seam, catching a contested, just getting his rib cage broken in. That dude's going to do it.
I mean, do we need to even talk about the other tight ends on the list here, like Ryan Griffin or whoever else? Like, probably not, right? Because they're just transition players that will be replaced. I would imagine. About them,
but I want to see Wesco get some opportunities. I like that dude.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you give him as a grade then?
In the sample size, I'll give him a B. He's a head buster, man. He goes out there and he busts heads. That's what they brought him in here to do. And he can line up. That's what happened when they played who was that they played last? Who was it, the Lions or something?
The last team that the Bears played was the Packers. Yeah. He got injured, right?
The Packers, yeah. That plan was to have them line up and do the West Coast offense.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the he was the backup for Kari Blasingame. So he was going to be playing fullback. And then he got hurt. They had to change on the fly and change the whole offense. Right there on the fly. It was subtle, and most people didn't notice it. But when he got hurt, everything changed. I saw them on the sideline scrambling and Eberflus on the headphones and talking to people, and they just adjusted right there in real time. They changed the offenses right there.
That's a great point, because the game did kind of change once he was injured, didn't it?
He did.
He was having a little bit of an impact on the team. I'm going to give him a C just for not, my own ability. I didn't put enough research into him, so I can't give him anything else but a C. But I can agree that when I did see him play, he played well, and he had a touchdown for us. So, wide receiver is next. That's kind of a oh boy, where do we begin? So Darnell Mooney.
You want me to go?
Yeah. What's your grade on Darnell Mooney? What, A through F?
Giving him a B- because he dropped some key balls when we needed him. He's been probably.
What's up, Bearlissimo? Thanks for joining us, guys.
What up, Bear?
What's your we're doing our grades on players by position. We're on wide receiver right now. The first one is Darnell Mooney. What are your thoughts in chat right now?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nomad. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. Mooney had some route running issues from time to time before he got hurt, whether it was not completing a route or throttling down during a route and having a ball miss him. It was things that he did on the field that is not typical per se for him. And he knows that. He even admitted it. If you watch his press conferences or his locker room comments, he'll tell you. That's one thing I like about Mooney. He's straight transparent. He will come and tell you exactly what, if you're wondering what happened on a play, why didn't Justin hit him there? No, that was my fault. I didn't run that route completely, or I throttled down a little bit. That's happened a few times for Mooney. And so that's why I give him a B-, man, because it's some of the stuff was just mental errors. And, Mooney's not going to have a long-term problem catching with his hands. He's not. It was just a couple of bad plays that he had this year. So you got to be 100 about it. I just gave him a B- there.
In chat, we have J-Rock saying Mooney is a C+. We have TB3 Podcast saying he's a B+. Don Burr saying Detroit versus everybody. Thank you for joining us, Don Burr. Good to see you again. We have Mooney, or St. Omni saying Mooney is a B-, and Bearlissimo saying you have to appreciate the job. You have to appreciate the job in the round. Mooney is always an A+ grade on effort, and no receiver never drops. And he made big plays, but everyone remembers the game losing drop. You're right about that, Bearlissimo.
You are right about that. But you gotta be fair. You gotta be fair.
I'm gonna give. I mean, seriously, I know that Mooney has been a big part of this offense, and they've been scheming to him a lot, and it hasn't been working. And they've been doing a lot of dumb little screen passes to him that haven't worked. And that's not his fault. It's the play calling, but I expected to see more out of Mooney this year. Bearlissimo did a great breakdown on how Mooney was a number one. And I completely fucking agreed with him that Mooney was a number one. But moving forward this season, you have clearly seen if he was a number one, he would have been a number one. Especially with all the work that him and Justin Fields have done together in the offseason and during the season. So Bearlissimo gives him a B+. You give him a B-. I'm going to give him a fucking B, just because I know you can't expect greatness overnight. And they had to learn the offense. There's been a lot of teaching going on this season. And they started off the season running the ball a lot. And then they tried to, I believe that they are trying to build the running game to transition Justin Fields into the passing game. And I believe that has worked. And they have done that, and it has worked. So I'm going to go with the straight up B for him. So let's move on to the next receiver, which I think should be. Who should it be? Who's the next receiver in line for this? Is it Byron Pringle?
You want to go EQ, don't you?
I did want to go EQ. Let's just do EQ.
Okay. Keep it. And let me preface my statements before I say anything. I've watched. If you've been listening to me or watching me on Twitter or listen to, everybody knows I think that EQ is better than advertised. A little bit better than advertised. He's not the crappy receiver that everybody wants to put on him. He's not been targeted that much. When he has been targeted, I noticed that he didn't make one play. It was a big one, but he didn't make it. And so if I'm being and blocking in the blocking scheme, he's lights out. He is lights out, and that's why I think he's going to make this team again. But that set that aside for later. If I'm being fair about what his play looked like to me, and I'm talking about all around in the blocking game and what he's been asked to do in the passing game when he's been targeted, he's only had one big drop that I can recall right now. So I'm just going to give him a solid B.
Solid B. What do you guys think in chat? What do you think, Billy Simo? What is EQ? What is his grade? Come on, Don Burr. What's EQ's grade next to his brother wide receiver on your team? We got J-Rock saying he's a C.
Ain't too many EQ fans in here, man.
Cornelius,
probably other than me, is probably the biggest EQ fan in here, and he gave him a C. So there you go.
I had a lot of high hopes for EQ this season because coming from the Green Bay system, so Barlissimo is saying he's a C+. Some explosive plays, explosive runs, great blocks, but some awful drops. Yes, he's a wide receiver 3 or 4. Don Burr says EQ is an F. I would expect nothing more from you, Don.
Dog can kiss a fat baby's ass, man. Everything the Bears do is an F.
I'm going to give EQ a solid fucking C too, because to be honest, I expected more from EQ this season. Coming from the Green Bay offense, I expected more of those deep passes that we saw in the last game that he caught, in the first games before that. So I have to go with just a straight up C for him. Let's move on to Byron Pringle. What do you think about? You want to finish something there?
Can I get in there one quick time on something about that before you move ahead?
Yes.
See, the thing with EQ is, and I might have said this earlier in the show, but I'm gonna say this one more time. It wasn't apparent what EQ can bring to the table until Mooney got hurt. Now that Mooney got hurt, you're gonna probably target who's your second most comfortable receiver. To me, that's easy. That's right. EQ. He's gonna look for EQ. So some of those balls that Mooney might have gotten, he's gonna target EQ. And if anybody in here can tell me that EQ's speed was apparent before the game against the Packers, they know something that I don't, because nobody seen that he was able to get downfield and get separation like that until the Packers game when Mooney wasn't there. So I think the best is yet to come for EQ. I think we can grade him better as the season goes on.
Before we move on from EQ, I'd like to know what you think, and everyone in chat. Who do you blame for that interception last week? EQ or Justin Fields? I would like to know your thoughts, Nomad, and I'd like to know everyone's thoughts in chat as well.
If you had to put the blame on anybody, it's got to be EQ. And that's just, you got when you break down and turn, you have to come back to the ball. That's just receiving one-on-one, man. When you're doing a dig, certain digs, and definitely on a curl, you have to work back to the ball. So if anybody's at fault, it's got to be EQ. But you have to say that and give credit to Jair Alexander for being able to recognize what that route was and be able to make a play and jump that ball. That was more of him than it was anybody. So,
okay, I think that he he had him shed to the outside like he should have the entire time. And I think that for someone that has practiced with him as long as he had, it seemed like he should have anticipated his break earlier and cut earlier. So I just, I don't know. I'm going to give that interception to EQ as well. And for that's what brings my grade down to a C for him. So we actually moved on to Byron Pringle. So I've already seen some Byron Pringle grades in here. Like, what do you think of Byron Pringle?
I haven't said this yet, but if there's anybody on the team, well, it's probably two people, but for different reasons that deserve an incomplete, it's definitely Byron Pringle, because he's been out there. I mean, he's been, in certain situations, I've seen him running wide open. He's just not been targeted at all. And that's just you could tell he's frustrated. I seen him in the locker room after a game.
Every time he talks.
Yeah, he was frustrated, man. It's like, damn. And he finally got a chance to get a ball in the end zone, and he got it, and was just looked like such a relief to him, like damn, about time. Like, fuck, man, dude, throw me the ball. Just throw it up there. Give me a chance to get it. I'll make a play on the ball. Just put it up there for me. Just throw it to me. And you could tell that's just inside of him, and it's just irritating him, and it's itching him. And so, again, going forward, I think we'll have a better view on what Pringle brings to the table now that Mooney's not in the picture. Him and EQ will see a lot more balls.
We have Berlissimo says that Byron Pringle realistically is an incomplete grade because he feels D plus for blocking. Yeah. I think that I would agree with you. I'd rather have Tajay Sharp. For Byron Pringle, I'm going to give him a straight up fucking D, man. I expected more. What did you say, Nomad?
If I had to give him a grade, I gave him an incomplete. But
incomplete.
Just because he hasn't had the chance to be targeted and hasn't gotten the looks that he needs to be able to show what he can do, I can't do nothing but give him a C, because it's neither here nor there, because he hasn't seen the production. He hasn't gotten a chance to get the production. So how you going to say, yeah, he's had some a few plays where he didn't really complete his blocks or finish them and things like that. So you can attribute that to the C, but other than that, I don't know why anybody could be down on him, because none of this is his fault.
And Sophisticated Thought says he won't be back next season. I don't think he will either. I'm giving him a grade of a D because I expected more out of him with the flashes that he had with KC, and he had the incident. I didn't fault him. I mean, big fucking deal that you're doing a donut in your awesome car, but it still was a negative highlight on the off season, I should say. You take that into the season, he's not getting, like you're saying, you can see the look on his face. He's disappointed. It just hasn't worked out for him here. So I'm giving him a D. I don't think he'll be back either. I'm agreeing with most of you in chat that say that. So let's move on to.
He's another one that's gonna, by the time the season is over and this stuff comes to a conclusion, he's gonna be another one that people start feeling different about after he start getting some targets. He's gonna make some plays.
And Berlissimo says the touchdown for Fields versus Packers doesn't happen without his block. So you're right, Berlissimo. All right, so the next wide receiver, who's next? Byron Pringle. So now we have
Pettis.
Dante Pettis. What's your grade on Dante Pettis?
Ooh, I gotta give him. I'm giving him a C plus. He's had the first thing that's gonna jump out to people was the drops, and he's had his fair share of those. And you can't undo that. And so that's why everybody in this chat's gonna feel probably about the same. But he's made some plays too, a lot more than he's not made. And so I think a C is fair because it's been average, but just slightly above average because he's made plays down the field that nobody else has been able to make other than Mooney on this team.
And he had a couple of them in the last game. Yeah.
He's a pretty good blocker too.
As Berlissimo pointed out, he's a good blocker. He had one of the best touchdowns on the year. That's true. I'm going to go with a C plus for Dante Pettis. Moving on. Oh, who's next? N'Keal Harry?
Yeah.
N'Keal Harry. What do you think about N'Keal Harry, my friend?
I don't know how you do anything other than give him an incomplete grade. Just haven't seen enough of him. How are you going to grade him when you haven't seen him?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the sample sizes that you have, I hadn't seen him not make a play that was, you know, on the table for him. But, you know, what could you say about other than criticizing he doesn't bring a whole lot? He's a one-trick pony. N'Keal Harry's a one-trick pony, maybe two because he's a pretty goddamn good blocker, but he's a jump ball catcher. Maybe a deep dig catcher if he can get enough separation to get that DB off of his hip. But that's it, man. He doesn't bring much in terms of dexterity to be able to. He's not a great route runner. He doesn't get good separation. I think he's a guy that's in between playing receiver and maybe some other position, man. I don't know, but all I know is he can't get separation. And only thing you can do with that guy is send him straight down the field and let him body a DB and let him catch a jump ball. That's about it.
The chat is blowing up over this. We got Bellissimo saying incomplete grade. Sophisticated Thought says, oh no, that's Pettis. Sinamni says incomplete grade for sure. He also says he's slow. Cliff Victoria says he's one of the few Bears receivers who can grab a contested ball. Cornelius says he's incomplete. DP3 Podcast says he's an A. I mean, this is all up and down the board. And TP3, you're right. He has, in the games he's been actually activated to play in, he has made a play when he's been given the chance. So I'm going to go incomplete.
Bellissimo is making a point. He can get slight separation. He's saying Harry can get separation. The timing of the throw needs to be there too. He's right, but at the same time, he doesn't get very much separation. You got to throw him open. You have to throw him open. So I mean, if it's a toss up between which receiver to keep, and I look at it this way, if you notice, the minute Byron Pringle got healthy and Chase Claypool was brought onto the team, they scratched Harry. That's got to tell you something. It was a healthy scratch. There was nothing wrong with that guy. The fact is that both Claypool and Byron Pringle bring more to the table as far as their ability to run routes and get separation. That's going to be an easy scratch for them because Pringle isn't. I mean, N'Keal Harry isn't quite as good at that. So, I mean, he's the odd man out easily.
His everything that everyone said here in chat, along with what you said, is spot on. Like that catch that he had in that game kind of proved it. Because I think if you looked at the pass was a well thrown ball from Justin Fields, but then when he came back for it, it was that jump ball thing that everyone's been talking about here. And he caught it and landed perfectly on his back and flipped it onto his feet. And it almost looked like a ballerina move, you know? And you can't count on that every game. I mean, maybe it's are the healthy scratches a sign of something? I think they are because, as Greg Gabriel has said, if the guy can't practice, he's not going to be on the field. And if he's not a good practice player, you're not going to see him in the game. So we've seen a lot of healthy scratches from him, and now we're seeing he has to play, right, because of the injury to Mooney. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward with him. I'm going to give – wait, what did you give him as a grade? You said I give him incomplete.
I had to give him an incomplete because – and everybody's talking – you were just alluding to it about practice. I've been noticing since camp that's a big emphasis on who plays in these games and who don't. You know, Eberflus puts a big emphasis on what you are able to show him in practice, and that will determine how much tick you get in the game. And the only thing I can think of with N'Keal Harry as to why he would not be an active player, he's probably not getting separation in practice. And those other guys are getting it. It's probably about that simple.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I
for
like
other
what Swifty
guys like
says.
Valus Jones, it's probably he's not being ball secure in practice, so he's not going to make the active roster. So,
And Swifty says here, hasn't practiced enough. Swift Gaming Network. What is that? Something new for you, Swifty? Good for you, buddy. You're killing it.
is that Swift?
I don't know. Well, I don't think it is. It might not be. It might be though. Who knows? Let's move on to Clay. Let's move on to What do you want to say?
Tell Swift to shut his ass up.
He's right though. He hasn't practiced enough.
Yeah,
in reality,
it's a lot of dudes that get incompletes, man, because of that.
Right. This might lead him to the next wide receiver, right? Who I think is going to be the last one. Chase Claypool. What are your guys' grades on Chase Claypool?
You asking me first?
Of course, yes.
Now, you talking about incomplete. Dude, that dude just walked in here, yesterday?
Yes.
And he's in a new offense and trying to learn the verbiage and where to be. You can see on the sideline people trying to tell him where he needs to be. Justin putting him in different spots and people correcting him all over the place. They're just trying to keep him on the field and learn while on the fly. So you talking about Baralissimo is right. That dude is improving every week. I can see less and less of that happening every week. He's knowing where to go, what to do, and people aren't having to guide him all the time. And I don't know how you grade that guy. And he just got here and he don't know the offense yet, but I don't have any grade for him. But what if I had to, I guess a B? He's not been bad. He ain't been good either, but he's not been bad.
I'm going to give Chase Claypool a fucking solid middle A because of everything that we just talked about. Everyone is talking about in chat. I see it. It's the guy just got here yesterday, and he has been helping the team. I mean, we were at the Dolphins game. I watched it happen with my own eyes on the field. The pass interference that was not called at the end of the game that should have been.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was targeted. He had that ball. He was clearly interfered with. And he's been kind of getting, bullied around a little bit, if you want to say, for lack of better words, since he's been on the Bears, because he's taken a lot of big hits and taken, the one that got injured or he fumbled on last week almost looked like he was going to be out for the rest of the game. You're right, Baralissimo. He's a monster when he's on. The familiarity with the system and QB will come. Correct. And I'm giving him an A. To step in at this final, halfway through the season, come on and have 7 targets in the first game against the Dolphins, and he could have clearly won the game for us at the end without that PI that wasn't called. I mean, I'm giving him an A just for effort and for showing up middle season and having to learn everything and doing what he has done so far to help the team. He hasn't blown up like we would like him to do, but he hasn't completely failed us like you might expect some other players that just come in, mid-season. So I give him an A.
You know what, man? Let me throw this into it. That if you notice, and those of us that watch the game really closely and pay attention to the details, you saw it right away. But the minute and the second he got here and was put in uniform and on the field in a game, Mooney, the coverage came off of Mooney, and he was able to get open and make plays the minute he got here.
Right.
They put him on the field, and plays start to happen for Mooney. Mooney was getting double teams and getting stuck up out there, and he really wasn't making nothing happen until Claypool got here. And the second he got here, boom, you got to respect him. So that's
Great
the
point.
big thing right there.
And Swift Gaming Network says, and Komet too, Nomad, you're right. He was able to help Komet with his presence. Oh, man, there's so much to talk about moving forward. So let's get on to the defensive side of the ball now. So should we start? Let's start with let's move descending. Let's start with the strong safety. What do you think about what's going on there at strong safety?
My man, Jaquan Brisker. I love that dude. He's way more of a positive than he can ever be a negative in my heart. Just because I love the way that cat plays, man. That cat plays. He is my avatar, I guess. You know what I mean? He's doing the stuff that I would be doing if I was out on that field. But you got to give him, as much as I would love to give him an A as a rookie, I can't give him a whole A, man, because he's missed some big tackles, man. Just overplaying his position and his alignment, just not getting low enough and wrapping, tackling to me. And it's been times I've seen him miss an assignment in coverage and secondary and not, just getting a little bit greedy, trying to move ahead and make a play on the ball, and he got beat over the top of him. So he really deserves a C, somewhere in the C range, but I'm giving him a B. That's because it's my guy.
A B.
I'm giving him a B. Solid B.
Man, I'm gonna give him a.
Damn it! Too many tackles, man.
I don't want to keep agreeing with you, but I'm gonna go with a B too, because I expected that out of him and more. I expected him to be an A- by the time we were done with this. So a solid B I'll be happy with. Let's move on to free safety. What did you think of Jackson this year before his injury?
That motherfucker's getting an A from me.
Mm-hmm.
Is he my first A?
I think so. Let's go back and look.
He's back to Pro Bowl Eddie.
No, you gave Khalil Herbert an A-.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, you also gave Tevin Jenkins an A-.
Eddie Jackson almost gets an A+, but he ain't nobody perfect. So Eddie Jackson, I mean, that dude has been straight. I mean, just imagine. We're talking all of this stuff, especially in the secondary. Just remember, these grades they're getting right now, there's a trick to it. These guys are playing special football without any pass rush. You know how hard it is to cover for seconds and seconds at a time in the secondary. They're covering way too long, and they're still overperforming. They shouldn't be covering this long. So imagine what Eddie Jackson's going to look like. Imagine what Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker are going to look like with another year under their belts and a pass rush next year. They'll be able to break on plays and won't be in coverage so long, and everything is going to look way better. So when I'm giving you these grades, I'm giving you these grades based on that way of thinking. They don't have a pass rush to depend on, and they're in coverage way too long.
Dude, you are so fucking correct. I mean, Jackson playing lights out this year before he was injured, with what was going on with the defense, I think says it all about that grade. And I agree with you. It's an A. Pierlissimo says it's an A as well. There's a bunch of A's in here. TP3 says he's an A. Yeah, he's an A. I mean, he would have been an all-pro after this season if not for the injury. And it sucks that it happened. It really fucking sucks because he was on course to be possibly even one of the defensive player of the year candidate. If he had more interceptions, depending on these last few games he's already missed. So, and plus the ones moving forward, I give him an A all the way around too.
That's the Eddie Jackson we knew was there. That's the Eddie Jackson we all knew was there. And whether that I don't know whether he just went dormant over the last couple of years. He was comfortable getting paid and whatever. But something about this new regime that came in, he saw his NFL mentality on the line, and he said, "Man, I got to bring it, man. I got to show these dudes who I am. I'm the best free safety in football." And we said this from the beginning of training camp on, that we knew we were going to see this resurgence from Eddie Jackson because of Jaquan Brisker. And they were going to go hand in hand with each other, and they complemented each other so well this season. And the fact, just a side note, that they played as well as they did last week, minus those two guys,
is a testament to this coaching staff and the players that they have on it, that are not starters. It's a real testament to this team. As you said earlier, we talked about, they could have collapsed. They didn't. They've been putting all their heart and soul into every game. And
let me get this off my chest because I've been itching to say this. And
preach it, brother.
I'm particularly Eddie Jackson is special right now because some of the stuff that is going on behind the scenes,
right,
with what he's doing for his teammates, how he's being open to them and inviting them in and teaching them and anything they need.
Being a leader.
I mean, yeah, anything they need. He let Jaquan Brisker know from day one. I don't care what time of day or night it is. You need something from me, you call me.
Right.
He's bringing guys over that, these rookies that don't have too much money, and he's telling them don't spend your money. If you need something, come talk. I mean, there's been so many little stories like that I've been hearing about Eddie Jackson.
Right.
Man, dude he's the ultimate
leader
pro right now, and he wasn't always that.
Right.
He wasn't always that. I'm so proud of that guy, man. I am so proud of him.
That's a great point, man. So am I. To see him grow into this leadership role that he has taken on over the course of these years, from the damn it. If I'm going to say it, I'm going to have to be prepared to play it. Coming on from these fucking Nagy years.
I'm not even going to get into that. I have zero thought. I'm not even going to get
into now. You saw him flourish with Vic Fangio, and then sputter off with whoever, whatever his name was. And now you're seeing the resurgence of him being a team captain and a leader, and really taking on that role of that he wasn't used to, that now he has to do. And damn it sucks that he got injured, because it would have been great to see what could have happened with him if he could have just played the entire season, because moving forward he could have had 2 or 3 more interceptions for all we know, and he could have made the Pro Bowl list, whatever you want to call it now.
Shorty, Eddie Jackson is the best free safety in football. Anybody disagree with me, we can fight right now. I don't give a shit. We can fight. That's the best free safety in football. and if his contract, I don't know how many years we got maybe 1 more year with Eddie under contract. Extend that man. Extend him. He's the best. You can't duplicate what. There's no guy in the draft that can duplicate Eddie Jackson's instincts. You pay that man.
Oh, Renewable says Ejak ain't all that. Ooh.
Hey, me and him can fight too right now.
Oh, damn. I don't want to see you fight Nomad.
I'll meet you on 95th and Halstead in 15 minutes. Come on.
Yeah. Bellissimo says Eddie Jackson has 4 called back defensive touchdowns now? Yeah, you're right. Oh, you know what, Kitty? I forgot. Before we get into strong safety, I would like you to please show everyone what we have done for Chris Watts. Let's get Chris Watts to a Bears game, guys. Let's go to that GoFundMe page and donate whatever you possibly can to Chris Watts. And Bellissimo, if you want to jump on there too, I'll get you a GoFundMe page for you too, my friend. Let's get you both guys here to a Bears game, and we can all watch it together in Soldier Field.
That's terrible, man. Hey, Chris, you better learn to become a drug dealer like everybody else and make you some side money. That's how we all did it. Sell some weed.
Dude, listen. I love Chris Watts, man. He lives over there in Yorkshire, and he'll never, talking to him, he's like, I'll never be able to make it to a Soldier Field game to see the Bears play. And so I took it upon myself to just start a GoFundMe page for him. I have it set a little bit high. It's set at like 6,000, but I wasn't sure exactly what it would take, and I wasn't sure how many people would. But if we can get it to at least 3,000 people to donate, or $3,000 of donations worth, then I think that would be enough to at least get him here on Coach to stay with someone in their house. And I have offered it to him. He can stay at my aunt's house, and we'll go home that week that he's there, and he can stay with us. And whatever it takes to get Chris Watts to a game would be like, it would make my dream come true for him, because I just love Chris Watts, and he's just one of those guys that I have something in my heart for, and I would love to see him to make a dream come true for him, to come from England to Chicago, go to Soldier Field, watch the Bears play. I'll get him tickets to the 20-yard line, third row, and he can watch the game with us, Aldo and I. If you wanted to come, Nomad, I know you don't like to go to games, but there's 6 seats there, and I can make that happen. So anyone who's willing to donate to the GoFundMe for Chris Watts to bring him to the United States to see a Bears game at Soldier Field would be immensely appreciated. So just want to thank you all if you do donate, and I hope it works out for you, Chris. Anyway, Nomad, let's talk about.
Hold on,
right.
man.
You want to say something?
Chris is lacking on his hustle, man. Tell him he got to learn how to do hair and nails like everybody else that get rich in this world.
Well, if you look at his hair, it looks like he doesn't have any work on that. He needs some help on that shit.
He can, people. He should be able to do that himself, man. Make some money off that shit, man. Learn how to do fingernails and braid hair and shit.
We have a seat for you, Cliff. You already know that, buddy. We'll have a seat for you ready. So moving on. What do you think about the cornerback position? Or should we talk about like the backups? Like, should we get into Hicks or anything like that at the safety positions? You want to talk about Hicks at all?
If you want to, man, we can go there. I mean, another small sample size of a guy that, he really struggled in talking about Elijah Hicks. He really struggled in preseason. I could tell in preseason that he hurt something in his upper core, and it hurt him to go in there and make tackles. And he was laboring after every tackle that he made. And it took him, I think he was, after he made the team, I think it was at least 4 weeks before he was off IR. And so,
right.
What does that say there?
I think DHC is probably our third best safety on depth chart, but for evaluation, I like to see Hicks get more snaps coming from Swifty.
I got a caveat for Swifty. I think DHC is the most underrated football player in the National Football League. That's how much I think of DHC.
I agree with you. And Berlissimo says I like DHC as a nickelbacker.
He's so underrated, man. That guy, he's almost like he's one of those guys you can put out there anywhere and say, hey, we're down every corner on the team, DHC. Go out there and play nose guard. I mean, you put him anywhere, and that guy's prepared to play and produce for this team. He is so underrated, man, and that became apparent last week to me.
I agree with you 100%. He's been one of those guys that he's stuck around on this team, and no matter what regime he's been in, he has produced, and he's been solid. That's someone that we should talk about since we were talking about safeties. I mean, DHC, what is your grade on him?
DHC getting an A for me.
Fuck yeah, man. Me too.
Solid A.
What do you guys think about DHC? What's your grade on him?
There's that guy right there. Try to find me a flaw about
Berlissimo says DHC is like a Seiko watch. It ain't sexy, but it's reliable and on time.
Man, you just don't give those away. Like they're like he's like a Mac computer. Like people don't just give those away. You get a Mac computer, you keep it.
It's like he's also like one of those guys. If you saw him in the mall, you wouldn't know who he was. But you and I would. But most people would be like, they wouldn't think he was an NFL player.
And they respect him in the locker room. They respect the shit out of that dude, man. Every time you turn around, you ask somebody who's the guy that you look up to the most, or something like that. It's always DHC. You hear that come out of most people's mouths, and that tells you a lot about the character of the man, what kind of man he is. It's a lot of football players in that locker room, but there's only so many men in there, and some people really gravitate towards that because you got a bunch of people that are just getting into this level of football, just getting this kind of money, and are not quite sure what to do with it, how to be professional. And not only does he do it in the locker room and behind the scenes, when you put him out there on the field, does he not perform?
Right. We have a lot of stuff in chat here. Exactly. Chad is saying he a B. He makes plays. He's a B plus. St. Omni says he's incomplete. Bellissimo says he's defensive grade is a B minus. DHC ST grade is an A. J Rock says he's a B. I mean, I'm giving him an A too. He's just solid. Cornelius says he's an A too.
Man, I if I tried to reach and find something bad to say about
you'd be reaching.
I kick my own ass.
Exactly.
I just start kicking my ass, man, because that's ridiculous, man. You can't say anything bad about that guy, man.
Like fucking Fight Club. Like, you know what? DHC is a punk ass bitch. Ugh.
Yeah, you foul for even letting that come out your face.
Wait, on, I don't think DHC is a good tackler.
Right.
Wait, are you against me?
I mean, anywhere in the secondary, any position, you can. If somebody goes down, you can put DHC there and be okay with it.
Right. All right, so let's get on to cornerback. What are we thinking about our cornerback situation? Let's start with Jalen Johnson.
B plus.
How does he? B plus.
Yep. B plus. You want me to go further?
Yeah, I would like to know. I would like to know what you guys think about in chat. What do you think about Jalen Johnson's progressiveness in this system, in the 4-3 scheme under Eberflus, as opposed to the 3-4 under Buck B? I have to say his name. Nagy.
I'm not even going to get into that. I have zero thought.
So, thoughts? Go ahead.
Okay, let me break this down. Tell you guys what I think about Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson has absolutely emerged as a quasi shutdown corner. He can't shut every receiver in the league down, and nobody's touching Tyreek Hill. Nobody can cover that guy. But as the definition of shutdown corner goes, you can put him anywhere on any receiver, just about on the field, and he's going to give him a run for his money in any game, any time. Jalen Johnson has emerged into that. And he's another guy I'm very proud of as far as his accolades off the field and what kind of man he's grown into. He is really matured. I mean, really, I don't know if it's Eddie rubbing off on him or what it is, but you could see the metamorphosis in him, man. The way he's not just I'm not just talking about off the field, but he's getting more seasoned on the field. It's like, that's the thing I'd say about corners all the time. You have to see a lot, whether it be on the edge or in the slot. As a cornerback, you have to see a lot before that seasoning really starts to metastasize for you and you become a greater player. You have to see a lot. And Jalen Johnson is in his third year? You're starting to see it. That dude, I wasn't already just really sold on before the season started. Yeah, he's the real deal. But I also think now is the time, if you want to think about getting some more draft capital, I think Jalen Johnson, because you got other guys emerging too. Jalen Johnson could be good trade bait.
Interesting. And I know we talked about him a lot in training camp. You were high on him. I remember that because I didn't know who he was before you said something. And here I am watching him in this last game, like, wow, he played really well. And I immediately thought of you. So here's to you on that. You were correct. I mean, the kid's playing, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. You're not just going to jump into the league and blow up and turn into a superstar overnight. I mean, that's not the normal model. That's the model that has given everyone false hope for the new model. These quarterbacks just, Patrick Mahomes, or even for the last 5 years or so, it seems like there's been some quarterback, no matter who it is, young rookie quarterback or just young quarterback, second-year quarterback, just blowing up the fucking league. And we've always been thinking, like, where's our quarterback? When is our turn, And it's kind of, you've seen that kind of dwindle down because it takes a little bit to learn this game, and it doesn't happen overnight for everyone. And Jalen Johnson is a great example of that because he, a couple of years in the league, and now you're starting to see him really produce in this defense. He found the right defense. He found the right coaches. The last game that he played was clearly his best, and he's someone that I think as we get into this, you can keep on the team.
Like Cornelius was saying, just remember what we said earlier, man. Yeah, hell yeah, he need to get more interceptions. But that's not those opportunities that aren't readily available until you have a pass rush, man.
Exactly.
And
Go
ahead.
No, you can finish.
No, with the right kind of pass pressures, man, dude, there's no telling what kind of numbers these guys would have right now, as far as taking the ball away, man, dude. We don't know because they don't have anybody that can sniff and know what the hell the quarterback smells like.
How many fucking sacks? Bellissimo, I bet you can give us this answer. How many sacks do the Bears have on the season so far? I would like to know everyone who knows this answer in chat. I bet you that you know it, Bellissimo. Just save me from having to look this up while we're talking because I think it's somewhere like right around 1 per game, if not that, which is fucking pathetic. Like, you're not going to win games with an average of 1 sack or less per game. So, yeah, this defensive line has been atrocious this year, and they're the reason why they're making the secondary look bad, which is it was a strength going into the season.
Can I jump in here real quick?
Swifty says 16 sacks. Thank you, Swifty.
Can
in
I
13 games.
Can I jump in?
No, of course you can. Please.
Bellissimo, my man. 100 grand. Listen. Yes, they do play too much zone. I just put this hat on my head just because I know what it feels like being a defense that doesn't get regular pressure on a quarterback. I know the coaches want to play more man-to-man. I know they want to do more actions in the defense. But when you have this kind of defense with this minimal quarterback pressures, what other recourse do you have but to play a whole lot of zone?
Right.
You can't necessarily put these guys and expose them and really make them look bad in man-to-man. I know you want to, but that's just not fair to them. The DBs, that's just not fair. You know what I'm saying? It's just you have to play a lot of zone just to get the hell out the game.
Right.
So that's what I would say to Bellissimo comment about that.
And when you have no pass rush, it's going to make your defensive backs look terrible. So you and I both gave Jalen Johnson a B+. I'd like to know, because I lost all track of what you guys said in chat. What do you guys think that Jalen Johnson, what's your grade for Jalen Johnson this year? I'm Nomad B+. I'm going to say
man, you're getting good at this interaction thing, man. I love it.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that. Thank you. I'm going to give him B+ too because I wasn't sure how he would perform in a 4-3 as opposed to a 3-4. I thought he was more of a zone scheme cornerback. And as we're just talked about, like that hasn't been working because they have no pass rush. So really until they have a pass rush, you can't, really give him. Someone's in fact, fuck that. I'm going to give him an incomplete. For me, Jalen Johnson is an incomplete for this season because of the lack of pass rush. Enough said. What do you think about?
Huh? Go ahead, man. I was going to answer Baralissimo, but go ahead.
Man or match under with zones over. Yeah, correct. So moving on to the next player, Kindle Vildor. What's your grade on Kindle, guys?
Ooh, I'm giving him a solid B.
Woo! A solid B. I would love to know what you guys think in chat. What is Kindle Vildor to you? What's his grade? An A, a B? Oh, Don Burr says an F. Of course, Don Burr. Thanks for joining us again. Don Burr.
He was talking about Ford Field.
hold on a second. I have this lined up. There we go.
If you had
a
most improved football player on the team other than Kindle Vildor, who would it be?
The most improved player on the Justin Fields.
Come on now, take that out of it.
It's too obvious.
Yeah,
okay,
that's easy.
The most improved player on the team for me would have been Eddie Jackson.
Okay, I would have said
or Sam Mustipher or Sam Mustipher.
But come on, man, you can't front on how much this dude's improved. I mean, he beat out a guy that pretty much everybody in this chat probably said was going to be on this team as a starter, probably at the slot, and that was Thomas Graham. Mm-hmm. Not only did he beat him out, he's cut. Thomas Graham is cut now, and Kindle Vildor ended up being a starter. Ain't that much noise? Wasn't that much noise? I mean, Kindle Vildor has had his games where a couple of plays were made on him, and he let the team down a couple of times. But for the most part, Kindle has been a lot more good than bad. Can everybody agree to that?
I can agree with that, but I think that I agree with what Chad is saying. Is Cole Kmet is probably the most improved player on the team from last year.
Who said that?
A lot of people.
Cole Kmet?
Skeet Dog says Cole Kmet. Swifty says Cole Kmet. Yeah. Khalil or Cole Kmet. I think it could be Cole Kmet, actually. That's a pretty good answer for you guys in chat. I mean, from what we expected from him day one until now, I think that he could easily be in that conversation. But so could Kindle Vildor. He hasn't been as bad as he has been. In fact, we talked about this in the beginning of the season that moving forward in a 4-3 that he would be better in this because he's not really a 3-4 cornerback. So your grade on him is a B, right?
Yeah, man. That dude has risen to the occasion, man. I mean, I sit here and take the time and watch the game live, and I scour this tape afterwards, just time and again, just to see if what I'm telling you guys is accurate to my knowledge. And I'm telling you guys, Kindle Vildor has not let you down. He has not let you down. He has been admirable, better than admirable, for his job in this position. Again, you're talking about a guy that's playing corner on an island with a defense that can't pressure the quarterback. So keep that in mind.
Good point. With what Chad is saying, we have a D- from J-Rock. We have a B from Cornelius. I think Baralissimo said he was a C-. I'm gonna go with a B-. A B-, which is good because I had no high hopes at all for Vildor this season. If he would have made a C+, I would have been happy. So a B- means something moving forward into the next segment.
You know what? Let me Kendall Vildor and unfortunately Sam Mustafa is the two kids in the classroom with shit on their shoes from the last regime, and they already stunk coming into the season. So a lot of
they walked in with dog shit on their shoes into the classroom, right? Like, God damn. Somebody's thinking this motherfucker. You never could have fucking forget that kid, man. Like the first day of school, you came in with dog shit on you.
That boy over there in that checker shirt, he stank.
I'm gonna give you that, man. I mean, like shit. I think I'm gonna give Kilmill a plus now.
All that from the Nagy regime, man. That stink they had on him, man, and it's carried over, man. Those guys been playing, man.
Wait, where's Sam Mustafa? You have to give him another half point too. Oh man, you're right though. I mean, it stinks on you, right? It really does. Oh, goodness.
Stay away from you, man. Like shit on the stick.
All right, so cornerback. So we were talking about at the beginning of the season. Jalen Johnson was another one. Who's our nickelback? Oh no, let's go to Gordon. Kyler Gordon. Okay, so what's your grade on Kyler Gordon? Everyone, Nomad, you go.
Okay, I'm gonna give Kyler Gordon a C, a solid C.
Ooh, a C.
Solid C. He was probably my favorite out of all the picks in the draft. And as I expected to happen early in the season, I just did not expect this defensive line to be so shitty.
Right, I know.
They're not a bad defensive line. They just suck at getting after the quarterback.
We've got nothing from Muhammad, right? You'd expect at least something from Al-Qadim Muhammad. Nothing.
I think he's laboring with something, man. That's not usual for him. He's usually somewhere around the quarterback. If he's not getting the sack, I think he's struggling with something.
Yeah.
Some kind of injury or something. But I'm more disappointed in Travis Gibson than anybody on this team. Anybody.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, both of them. I mean, there's lots of things that come into play, right? Like family issues. So you can't, like, who knows? Maybe Muhammad could bounce back next year, but if he makes the team. But Travis Gibson was definitely someone that we expected to see more out of this year, right?
Way more, man. I think what's happening with Travis Gibson, I want to get back to Kyler Gordon, but later. I think what's happening with Travis Gibson is he's topped off as a 4-3 defensive end. And I mean that specifically as a 4-3 defensive end.
Yeah.
He's topped off. Either in this 4-3, I think they would probably get more if they give him a shot at playing on the inside at 3 tech. Either that, or he belongs in a 3-4 defense.
Yeah,
he doesn't fit as
right.
an edge in a 4-3 defense. I think that's pretty clear.
I think you might be right about that. Going back to Kyler Gordon, I'm giving him a C+ on the season as a rookie. He started off rough, and then he had some sweet spots in there, and then had some issues, injury issues. We missed him the last game. Couple of games, I think. So I'm going to go with a C+ because, I mean, I did expect more from him, but the injuries and just the fact that they were playing him in nickel to begin with, it's a lot to expect from a rookie. So what he has done so far on the season as a rookie cornerback, playing a lot of nickelback in this scheme, and then having to move out when there's an injury or whatever the play might be, I'm giving him a solid C+. You gave him a C. I'd like to know. We saw other people. J-Rock says Gordon is a C+. Don Burr says Penny Sewell is a damn beast. Bill Bellissimo says KG is a C plus, but trending up. I agree with you on that. Definitely trending up. Cornelius says he's a C. I'd have preferred that the Bears made him a corner instead of a nickelback. I would imagine what you're saying. But yes, I think he's going to be playing a lot of both positions. So
I remember Aldo. I did. I don't know if I sat in for Dan. I think when it took a week off or something, went on vacation somewhere, and I sat in for him on Aldo's show, and he asked me that specifically. And this is probably at that mark where he was looking as bad as he could be in this defense. And he asked me specifically, should they sit Kyle Gordon? I said, hell no. And I'm gonna tell you why. And I'm gonna tell everybody in this chat why. And I know this because I played exactly the same job as Kyler Gordon. I had to play outside, I had to play inside. And there is no way to simulate what you have to learn at that job. There is so many things that you have to learn and see.
right.
To be able to put the armor on yourself, and so that the second time when you see a guy, they can't pull that same shit on you. Or you see that same formation, they can't pull that same shit on you. Kyler Gordon already at this point in the season is a completely different football player than he was at the first 4 games or so.
Right.
He's got to see a lot before he can become good and very good at that position. And he's just learning it right now. And I'm telling you, moving forward, as he learns this stuff and puts all this stuff in his memory banks and learns to defend himself against what they're trying to do to him, add a defensive front that can get pressure, you're going to see some great shit out of that dude. Then you're going to start seeing the Kyler Gordon that we drafted. He's just right now, he's just putting all that shit. It's just cachet for him right now. He's just learning.
If you remember, Nomad, I made a little video in the beginning when we started doing Bears Country podcast about him, how I thought he could possibly be a Hall of Famer. So
one day,
maybe one day, we'll see. Who's the next quarterback that we want to talk about here? Because Jackson never made the team. You were a big fan of Lamar Jackson, right?
I was a big fan of Lamar Jackson,
and you made me a big fan of him too. But he's not on the team anymore, if I recall. I think he hit his apex in this defense, and somehow or another he tailed off. And I don't think it had anything to do with his performance on the field because he never really got a chance to play. I think he tailed off in practice. Another big guy that we were talking about then was Jalen Jones, I mean. And Jalen Jones, what's your grade on Jalen Jones, so far as in the very limited time he's played? Average for a rookie. And I'm putting him in the same category as Kyler Gordon. They're just rookies, man, and they're learning. I don't see anything with any of these corners functionally that they can't perform at a higher level when everything gets better around them, when the defensive front gets better, and them just learning what they have to do on a pro level to be able to perform at a high level as a cornerback. I don't see anything with either one of those guys functionally that they can't perform. Mm-hmm. I think he's a really good player. I think he's average right now because he doesn't know enough. Exactly. I give him an incomplete. Impressive the last 2 games, you're right, Barely Simo, but I give him an incomplete so far on the season.
I'm more impressed with Blackwell than I am with Jalen Jones right now.
Exactly. So am I. Which we can talk about him. What's your grade on him?
I give him a B. I think he overperformed.
I mean, it's only one game?
Yeah.
Kind of hard to grade him after that, but I definitely give him a fucking B or a B plus on that. You're damn right he did, Cornelius.
He overperformed, man, for his for what was asked of him in a clutch situation. I mean, dude just threw him in there, say, "Hey, I need you to replace Kyler." And man, if he didn't perform, then I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at, because he outperformed Kyler, to be honest with you, at the position. I'm just being straight up 100 with you. He played better than Kyler did. But, you know, that's one of those when you're on the sidelines looking at everything and critiquing, oh, man, if I was in that position, I would have did this, I would have did that. He has the benefit of sitting there and watching and being healthy all season too, and not having to make those tackles. He had a lot going in his favor. So good for him, man. I give him a B.
Cliff, you say hire Vic Fangio again. My buddy says we should. He swears that we should just fire Eberflus after the season and make Getsy the head coach, and then bring back Vic Fangio as our defensive coordinator. Any thoughts on that? Just as a quick side note, anybody have any thoughts on that?
Talk to the chat for a couple of minutes. I got to run to the bathroom.
Oh, damn! You got to go drain the water,
right
you guys.
back,
I would love to know. I would love to know what you guys think on that question. If the Bears just said, "Listen, moving forward, we believe that if Ryan Pohl said, we believe that moving forward, the best opportunity for the Bears to succeed is if we promote Luke Getsy to head coach and fire Matt Eberflus after this season, and then give all the promotional aspects to the head coach in Luke Getsy." I would like to know what your guys' thoughts on that in chat are right now, and in the comments when this video is over if you're listening to it later. Because I found that to be a very interesting question. So STC says, keep the coaching staff as is. Cliff Victoria says, Getsy hasn't earned head coach yet. Has his play calling not earned it? I guess the ultimate question comes down, Getsy, and Sammy says, Getsy has 1 year of play calling. Cliff Victoria says, I'm not a fan of Williams. Cornelius says, hell no.
I'm back.
And I'm not saying that they should do this, that they should fire Eberflus after the end of the season and make Getsy the head coach. But it's an interesting thought just to have as a fan, just to ponder. Well, let's just say let's just fast forward 3 years from now. The Bears are, or let's go 2 years from now. The Bears are the hottest team in the fucking league, right? They are killing it. They lose Getsy to a head coaching position. He goes to, I don't know, fucking whatever, Dallas. He goes back to Green Bay, let's say. Let's make it worse. He goes back to Green Bay. We keep Eberflus, and he stays mediocre. Maybe his ego gets to be too big for him, and he doesn't actually continue the development of Fields yet. Getsy moves on, goes back to Green Bay, let's say, and redevelops Jordan Love. Let's just make this a scenario. Wouldn't you think at that time, 2 years from now, we should have just fired Eberflus and made Getsy the head coach? And I'm not saying I agree with this. I'm just saying sometimes there are moves that you need to make as a team, regardless of how ridiculous that they feel in the moment. For example, I thought, and I was wrong, but if the Bears would have just fired John Fox and made Gase the head coach at the time, what would that have done for Cutler and that team? What would it have done for, what was going on that team offensively at the time? Would it have made them better? Would he have collapsed like he did with the Jets? I don't know. But it seemed to be that there was something good going there with that OC. And if we have a situation like this, hypothetically speaking, what would you guys as fans want to do if it came down to losing Getsy as offensive coordinator and having a lame duck head coach for the next couple of years until he was fired, and not really knowing what Getsy would become, or take the chance on getting rid of Eberflus after this season and just going, I'm pushing all my chips into this Getsy guy because I believe he's going to be the one that's going to develop this quarterback and help this offensive system grow into the future. Thoughts?
Let me it's a
I,
few
I,
things.
I know I'm on a ledge. I'm sorry, Nomad. I know I'm on a ledge, Barrelissimo. I'm just saying, I'm presenting a question that a friend gave to me, and I'm just trying to put it out there as a devil's advocate thought to things, not anything that I believe in, just something for all of us to ponder. What if? Sorry, Nomad. Go ahead.
Well, there's a few ways to think about everything you just said, and I want to touch a few, all of them. Getsy, there's one thing, and I said this to somebody. I don't know who I said it to, but there's one thing to have the
Don't
ability
shoot me. Don't shoot.
to unlock a quarterback and turn him into what everybody believes he can be. That's one thing. It takes a whole other man to be able to command the locker room and get to
Right.
respect everybody in there and have them perform for you on that team. That's two
Right.
completely different things. Not saying that Gessie doesn't have the wherewithal to be able to do that. I don't know him as a man. I can't say, but that's a whole other thing. Put that to the side. Now, when we're talking about and I heard a whole bunch of Vic Fangio before I ran into the bathroom. And let me tell you something. There's some elite defensive coordinators in this league, and the only way you can become elite as a coordinator in this league is when you have elite talent. I don't care what defense you're running, but in that 3-4, Vic Fangio is the best there is in the business at running that defense when he has the talent.
Right.
4-3, there's about a school of 4 coaches that come to my mind right off the bat that I think are elite. Eberflus is one of them. Todd Bowles is another. What's the guy's name? And he's just got fired from Minnesota. He's another. Zimmer, Mike Zimmer.
Yeah.
And you have Leslie Frazier. Those guys are elite at running a 4-3 defense. And Lovie Smith, too. You can put him in there as an honorable mention when he's got the talent. And so think about all that, when people start giving, Allen Williams all that hell, it's not really warranted because he doesn't have the talent.
Well, I think that
give him the hell when he gets the talent, and he still underperforms as a coordinator.
I think that a lot of that thought came from that
Then the
thought process.
That's true too. I'm sorry.
I think that a lot of thought that came from that thought process from my friend was, we're not that far off from still being a 3-4 team. So if we were just to hire, just upgrade Getsy to head coach, go get Vic Fangio, make him our defensive coordinator again, that we could just keep him for the next 10 years. And we're not that far off from being, another 3-4 team, because we could put Gibson at a 3-4 outside linebacker. He might be better there, like we talked about. I mean, just little things too. Just some little side notes I was adding while you were taking a leak. I kind of want to get back into the players here. So we were at linebacker last, or no, actually we're on linebacker now. So I want to know your thoughts on Roquan Smith is gone. What's your thoughts on Nicholas Morrow?
Solid B. My man has been solid. He's been available. He's if I had to pick and be critical of something, sometimes he get a little opposition and gets a little washed down and can't get off the block a little bit, but every linebacker in the league has that problem to a certain extent, But for what he's been asked to do, he's transitioned from the middle linebacker to the Mike linebacker, and really it's been no tail off there. So
right.
you gotta give him credit for credit's sake. He deserves some credit for what he's put on the table, and I think he's been solid.
I completely agree with you. I think he's been solid as a 1-year pickup. I'm going to give him a B+ for the versatility that he's had, kind of playing both positions. Because when the Bears are playing a two down linebacker set, Roquan was playing the middle linebacker, and he was playing the will. So once we lost, I think that was one of the main reasons why the Bears thought, if we trade Roquan, we can still get the same production out of the tackle position on paper, the sack position on paper, and the interception position on paper with Jack Sanborn. And it's proved to actually be the case. And really, Morrow is more suited to me, if I think you can all agree, as a will linebacker. Carlissimo says most defenses nickel now, being 3-4 or 4-3 isn't so much of a thing. If you need two DTs who can penetrate gaps and split doubles, you need two edge who can rush and bend the edge, linebacker or defensive end. So he's giving Morrow a D-. I mean, he's underwhelmed. I'm giving him a B+ because of what he has done on a 1-year contract in this system, with Roquan being removed from the situation and him having to move in with a rookie undrafted player. I'm not saying that they should necessarily re-sign him, although I think they probably should because he's familiar with the system. But I don't think he has underperformed any of my expectations. Like, what do you think about him, Nomad?
Well, before we're still talking about Moore, right?
Yeah, you gave him a B.
Right. I'm gonna be completely honest. I think the entire linebacker core is. I think they're mostly all backups, with the exception of Sanborn. And I think Sanborn is not. I don't think he's the answer at middle linebacker overall. I think he'll make a great Sam more than a great Mike linebacker, because what I've noticed during the games, if they've made an effort to keep Sanborn out of one-on-one situations as much as possible, because that's when we'll know what Sanborn really he's the bomb at going forward and filling lanes and making tackles. That motherfucker is excellent at that. But what we don't know really is how well he will perform when you have a double A gap blitz. I mean, not a double A gap blitz. When you got stunting going on and you got blitzes coming from other places, he's forced to be one-on-one on a running back coming out of the backfield or somebody in the slot. You don't know what he's going to look like down the field. So they've done a good job of keeping him out of those situations. And that's really, to me, how you determine whether or not you have a starting middle linebacker or a will linebacker, is how they perform in those situations. He's been great aside of that. I mean, going forward and making tackles and filling the runs, man, dude, is outstanding. Mm-hmm. But there's more to it than that.
I'm not gonna agree with Retro and say that he's more Hunter Hillenmeyer than Briggs or Urlacher, kind of like you're saying. But I'm not gonna say that he's definitely not a Briggs, but he's not an Urlacher either. But he has that ability to eat up space when you're seeing all of the plays come at you and all of the blocking schemes that are going on. He somehow has the ability to constantly find that space in between everyone. And those are the kinds of things that make an excellent instinctive football player. And those are the things that I think that go unmeasured when you're talking about a combine and people that get undrafted, such as him. And I'm not going to say he's going to be a 10-year starter for us, because I don't want to jump off the bandwagon, or jump on this huge bandwagon of his and just seem like but I really do have a lot of high hope in him that he could be a solid player moving forward, someone that gets better and better every year. And all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, we're still fucking talking about Jack Sanborn when we thought we should have been done with him 3 years ago. So I'm just going to say that for him, I'm giving him, as an undrafted free agent who came in and basically took over a role of Roquan Smith, I'm going to give that fucking kid an A. Honestly. Just a solid A.
You know what, man? There's a, and I'm gonna be the first person to tell you, because I remember early pods that we did, and I told you, because everybody was Sanborn crazy, and I said, yeah, man, dude would be lucky to make the team as a special teams player. He's so outperformed all that shit to where, you know what, he's earned my respect. I'll tell you that much. And I'll go even a little bit further.
My best friend wanted to be on the podcast. Sorry, hold on. He was like pawing me. Can I be on the podcast, Daddy?
Who's gonna not like the dog? But
That's my best friend.
but he
Skeet Dog can appreciate that.
Jack Sanborn is my hat's off to him, man. My
Fucking hats
off.
off.
The only reason I give him a B is because in a limited defense, he has not had to do the things that I know he's gonna have to do as a middle linebacker when this team gets a little bit better. There's gonna be times when he's in a tight game and there's some audibles made at the line of scrimmage, and he's gonna get stuck on a guy that you're gonna really have to run with and make a play on the ball if you are to get out of that game with a win. And to this point, he hasn't shown me that he can do that. Does he have the ability? He's outperformed my expectation thus far. So I'm gonna say he probably does. So he could prove me wrong about that, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt.
We talked about Jack Sanborn in the beginning of this, in training camp and stuff, and you were thinking he couldn't do that, the Sam position or the Sam position, and I was agreeing with you, but I was thinking that he could be in a Mike, and here we are, 14 episodes later, and he's clearly playing the Mike well. So I'm not gonna. There's nothing that I'm going to say negative about Jack Sanborn right now. I don't want to get beat up on the streets when I go out to get milk. Not that I drink milk, but
Only thing worries me about that guy is he's gonna fucking kill himself because he's just that. He has no care or concern about his health or well-being. That motherfucker run into a train if they told him to, man. That motherfucker's neck is a foot wide, man. Look, you see that?
It's like that wide.
Like he's gonna kill himself in there, but he's built for it, man.
Oh, he is, man.
I think he's a Sam linebacker.
I think you're wrong. I think he's a Mike.
Until they upgrade.
I think time's going to prove that to be true.
Could be, man, but I really think he's going to be a great Sam linebacker. If he ends up playing the Mike, you won't be mad, but they're going to definitely upgrade at that spot, man. So people are getting – I know Sanborn is playing his ass off right now, but they're going to get more linebackers in there that can play the Mike and the Will a whole lot better.
So what's your grade on him?
I'm giving him a B.
A B. Okay, I'm going A. Everyone in chat has been
I'd be giving him an A. I'd be giving him an A if we saw him more in coverage, but we haven't.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah. But we might not need to with how they might play with him. So, all right. So that's middle linebacker. But we covered line. There's nothing else to talk about linebacker, right? And that's pretty. So, what's next? Defensive line, huh?
Oh boy.
Let's get into the fucking defensive line, guys. What do you think of Akeem Muhammad, whatever the fuck his name is?
You want me to let me jump on this.
I want to know your grade on this guy because I'm just gonna give you this F. It's right there. I just wrote it down.
F is just no effort at all. He don't give a fuck, and he's just awful player. Now, I think something's going on with him physically, and all you have to do is look at his film and see what he's been able to produce on film, and look at what he's done thus far this year. And to me, that's the only thing I can come away with is I don't think he's the kind of guy that's gonna just quit and not put forth the effort. I don't think he's that kind of guy at all. I think he's struggling with something, and so I'm just gonna give him that benefit of the doubt. And I'm gonna give him a D-. I'm not gonna give him an F because you have to suck a homeless ass not to be. You have to be awful, man.
But if you were going to give them the benefit of the doubt, wouldn't you give them like a incomplete?
Nah, man, he's put it out there on the field. Maybe he shouldn't be out there, but since he's out there, this is what he got on tape, and he's probably hurt, man, and just keeping it on the low. That happens a lot.
All right, we got a Justin Jones is a B plus, and Dominic Robinson is a B plus, and Armin Watts is a B minus, and the rest are D lower from Bellissimo. So let's just get into the next defensive end, and let's talk about Gibson.
Yeah, he's the most disappointing player on this team. But go ahead, give me your grade on it.
I'm going to give Gibson a D. He did shit for me this year. I expected more out of him coming out of that more familiar position from college. You know, what he played most of his life, going into a 3-4, coming back into a 4-3. I expected more from him this year. And the fact that he outshined Muhammad, I was not expecting that. I thought Muhammad would have a better season than he did. I thought he would transition back into it, and he hasn't.
He gets a big solid D, man. Big solid D. And I did not expect him to come into this season. And I'm telling you this because he put things on film that showed me that he could at least get off of blocks and shed blocks and keep pressure going forward to the quarterback and get there and at least get the hurry on the quarterback. He's not even doing that. Mm-hmm. And so that tells me that he's plateaued at defensive end in a 4-3, and he's out of position. That's what it tells me. It tells me he should be in some other position. That means scoot him on the inside and at least see what he can do from an inside tackle position because he's not going to be on this team next year unless they slide him on the inside, and by the grace of God, he just decides to tear it up at maybe a 3-tech position. Other than that, he will not be on this team next year.
Mm-hmm. He might not be, or he could be just a transitional backup player from some of the talent that they pick up in the draft.
No, you can do better backups than that. No, man. If you're going to leave him at DN, he can't be on this team. You gotta have guys that can get to the quarterback, and he has not been sufficient, man. He doesn't know what a fucking quarterback smells like, man.
No shit.
He doesn't know anymore. He used to know what it smelled like, but not no more. I don't know if he gained too much weight naturally or whatever it is he's definitely out of position in the 4-3. For certain, I know that.
Let's talk about Armin Watts. What do you think about him? We did a little show on him in the beginning of the year. We were excited to get him, and here we are after a 3-10 bye week. Where do you feel about Armin Watts moving forward?
I think he's a B minus, man. I think when we start talking about guys that can make this team next year and at least be a rotational piece, he's one of the guys that just stick out like a sore thumb to me because I see the flashes. I see him being able to come in and produce, part-time and get those pressures on the quarterback when they're screaming defensive end coming off the edge. And yeah, I think he's somebody you want to keep.
Mm-hmm. He's someone that I think that if you had someone paired next to him could be a pretty damn good player. I'm giving him a B.
See, right now, Shorty, what's going on with Watts is he's playing. All right, do you know what the defensive front looks like in Indy?
Vaguely.
Okay, let's just say the interior guys, the tackles. You got, of course, my favorite is DeForest Buckner, and then you have Grover Stewart, the big meaty guy that absorbs a lot of the double team sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so the idea is if you have that big meaty guy to absorb the double teams, the 3-tech has all the opportunity in the world to win one-on-ones and, make plays on the quarterback and the ball. Armin Watts somehow is that guy, and he's not really that guy. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's not where he's supposed to be playing.
Thank you.
That's supposed to be Mike Pennell, but they're rotating these guys all over the place. They took the meat out of the lineup other than Mike Pennell.
Right. We saw that happen in the offseason. and kind of was like wondering, what are they going to do here with this defensive line? And here we are, after being 3-10, we're seeing the fruits of that fruition. It's come true. What do you think about Mike Pennell? What's your grade on him?
Giving him a B. Pennell ain't been bad. B minus.
I agree.
I'll give him a B minus. And then he's done a couple of boneheaded things, but what defensive tackle don't. Other than that, man, he's been admirable this year, man. I can't lie to you, man. It was a few games when the whole defensive line just smelled like shit. Looked like shit, and they smelled like it because they couldn't fucking tackle anybody.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They got ran over, but given the circumstances, got to give him at least a B minus, man. I think he's been admirable.
Who else is on that defensive line that we should be talking about that we're missing?
Dominique Robinson.
Oh yeah, Dominique Robinson. What's your grade on him?
I gotta make sure I'm correct when I speak this, because Dominique Robinson is uber talented. When I say uber talented,
could be special.
Yeah, he's got that kind of ability. What I see to be his problem, watching him play football at that position, is he has a move that he feels is dominant, and it's one move: speed swim or speed rip. His secondary move, after that gets caught, the offensive lineman catches him on that. His secondary move is not fast enough. He can't transition into it fast enough to have a counter. That's what he's missing. So when he learns, and that's why I'm being easy on him, is because when he learns, and he hasn't been playing the position very long to really be savvy at it. And so when he learns better hand technique and better leverage technique, and to be able to use that
footwork and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, be able to use his primary move and be able to counter with the secondary move just as fast. The snap of my finger, it needs to be that fast. When he gets to that point, he's going to be almost unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
But it's there. It's there. He is really close. When I say he's really close, I see it right there on the precipice of being something really good. He's really close.
So what's your grade?
Got to give him a C. He's just average right now because he can't counter his primary move.
I'm going to give him a C too. I would agree with you on that. All right, who's left?
Ball right here, boy, ain't we?
Who the hell do we have left on the defensive line? There's Angelo Blackson. You want to talk about him?
Another disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
I expected him to be way more aggressive. Way more explosive than he is in this defense.
So did I, as a 3-tech.
Oh man, dude, I think Eberflus thought that, hey, you know what? I see the potential for a guy to be. He's got the build. Mm-hmm. He's got the explosiveness in the 3-4 that he was playing in last year. But put him in this 4-3 and tell him to do that every play doesn't seem to be there. Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem to be there at all. Consistently do that. All you have to do is put your hand in the dirt in a 3-point stance and go in there and rush forward. Mm-hmm. And he hasn't been able to do it. And so I'm giving him a D.
A D? God damn.
Disappointed. That's what that means.
I'm going to give him a D too because of the same exact things that you said. I expect to see more out of him this year at the position. We talked about that in training camp and all that stuff. He's someone that we thought that could have taken a step forward at that 3-tech, and he never did.
Nope.
So I'm giving him a D too. I think this is kind of helping us to line up who we're going to start getting into with the free agency period with the Bears, who they're going to lose in free agency, as well as who's out there in free agency. And I think I have a really good way to do that because I'm sure we both have to take a leak pretty soon. And we're going on 2.5 hours. Why don't we, since we're almost done here, are we done with the players? Oh, wait.
Who's going to
Defensive line. Who else is on the defensive line?
There's some guys like that we're going to have to see later, like Samus Reyes got. He went as a tight end. They
We're just talking about like starters or rotational starters now. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we have gotten into that, let's talk about what the 2023 Chicago Bears free agents are. And Kitty, I'll let you change that. Thank you. So these are all the players so basically we have given the grades at left tackle. We both gave it a B plus, left guard B plus to A minus, center C plus to B minus, right guard A minus, right tackle anywhere from a D plus to a B minus. I gave him anywhere from a C minus to an A minus. Running back anywhere from an A minus to a D, an A minus to a D, or an A to a D. Now let's talk about like the players that we are going to potentially that are up for contract on our own team, which is, let's start off with the wide receiver position. So, and I think that what we'll do, Nomad, is we can transition this into maybe a draft show that we can do on Last Call and Hal Saul on Bears Country Podcast on Thursday, because I don't want to leave you sitting here hanging trying to talk to everyone without a host while I have to pee. So,
wait a minute.
Do you want to sit here? Do you want to hang on?
If you need
to take care of this while I take a leak,
man, go take a leak.
All right. Why don't you start going over this list as you see it from the players that we have? Oops, I fucked that up. That you're seeing here: wide receiver down to tight end, a tackle, safety, right tackle, running back. Kind of like go over who you talk to people in chat. I want to know what you guys think about this wide receiver position and the tight end position.
What we'll do is I'll run down this list while you run to the bathroom, and I'll tell them to make comments based on what I say, and then have you pull them back up when you come back.
Perfect. I'll be right back. I'm just going to take a piss. You know, I'm getting old, man. What can I say?
Hey, man, it happens, bro. So the first guy up here is Byron Pringle. Let me tell you guys something, man. And you guys, please let me know in these comments. Let us know in these comments if you think I'm right, if you think I'm wrong, indifferent, whatever. But I don't think he's had his proper due as far as opportunities to be able to judge whether or not he makes this team or not. Moving forward in these next few games, I think if he's given the opportunity, judge him based on that. Don't judge him based on what you've seen thus far in this season. I think Byron Pringle has a lot to bring to the table, and it just hasn't been put on display. And I'm not sure if he's going to make the team or not, whether they have plans to move on without him or not. I don't know. But he's one of those guys who I think can bring a lot more to the table than what's been put forward so far. So to me, I just want to see him get opportunities, and then I want to judge him after that. So that's how I feel about Byron Pringle. N'Keal Harry, I'm pretty sure I know what N'Keal Harry is. To me, I mean, he's a lot more to other people than he is to me. To me, I've seen basically you have to be able to run a proper route tree and to be a respected receiver in this league. And to me, he cannot run a full route tree. I'm talking about a full route tree and get separation on those routes. He just doesn't have it. He doesn't have that diversity in his routes and be able to get the proper separation you can get on a curl, get the proper separation you can get on a dig, proper separation on a fly. I mean, he just doesn't get it. Here and there, he gets a play or two where he gets a little bit of separation, but it's not much. The most you're going to get out of N'Keal Harry is a sharp dig going across or a fly where he gets a 50-50 ball. To me, that's not that's not enough. I think a person like Byron Pringle has more to bring to the table.
All right,
Dante. Okay, we got as far as N'Keal Harry. You want me to go back over it? That's up to you.
Nope. Keep going.
Dante Pettis, he's tricky because I think he brings more to the table than what the eye can see during a game. If you watch Dante Pettis in highlights, it's not that this guy can get separation and he can catch the ball. He can make big plays. He is probably out of everybody on this. I don't know. I can't call him the most underrated person because he's made plays in this offense, but I think people sleep on him a little bit. I think he's better than what people are willing to give him credit.
I think people are shitting on him for the drops he had, more so than the good plays he's had, right?
Yeah, I mean, without the drops and the few mistakes that he made there, what could you say bad about Dante Pettis? What could you?
Really nothing, honestly. He had a couple of great catches in the last game. I think he was injured for a little bit, but not that long, comparatively speaking.
People, I made some comments about N'Keal Harry. People are mad at me about that, but I'm just willing to tell you guys right now, I'm a DB, and I know what I see, and I can tell you right now, N'Keal Harry is the easiest person in this receiving room to guard. He is not complicated to guard. Matter of fact, he wouldn't get shit on me. He's got tight end mobility, man. He's got tight end. He's got no business at receiver. He's a big.
All he has is the catch. Is the large catch radius, right?
That's it. That's it. He's the easiest person in this receiving group to guard. The easiest.
So out of these 4 wide receivers, who do you keep? Who do you leave?
I'm keeping EQ for sure. I'm open to Dante Pettis and Byron Pringle for sure.
Mm-hmm.
N'Keal Harry, I'm not keeping him.
I'm going to go leave Byron Pringle. I'm going to go keep N'Keal Harry and Pettis and St. Brown. Bring them into training camp and see what happens. Because obviously you don't know what's going to happen after the draft and free agency. So I think at least those 3 guys can be retained, in my opinion. Just to see what happens with the chemistry with Fields moving forward. I know what you're saying about Harry. It makes sense, but part of me doesn't want to give up that 7th round pick, you know.
Let me tell you something, man. Now, with that being said, everything I said about N'Keal, I don't want people to think I hate N'Keal. I don't. Let me tell you a bright side to N'Keal Harry, and I'm this is with a little bit of color, but a similar guy to what N'Keal Harry brings to the table is Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant is not known for being able to get hella separation on a route. He's not, but he was a hell of a ball player, and he made plays. And that's what I think people see in N'Keal Harry. They see the ability. You know, it doesn't matter if he gets a whole lot of separation. Throw the ball up there, and he can just go get it. I know what you guys mean by that. He can body people out, but I don't think he's near as fleet-footed as Dez Bryant. And to me, I think he's just easy to cover.
I can agree with you on that assessment from that perspective as a cornerback, defensive back, covering him, yeah. It's probably why he's been a healthy scratch for a lot of the games, right?
Man, he's like Shaq said, he's like barbecue chicken to DBs. He's like, yeah, we finna eat on him. He's easy.
What do you guys think about this? I mean, tight end is pretty much not worth even talking about, right? I don't see Ryan Griffin sticking around. They might draft someone to develop behind Komet. They're going to sign another free agent or two, maybe an undrafted free agent. Maybe the guy the undrafted free agent who was on the practice squad steps up next year. It's just kind of like, yeah, let's not even talk about tight end. That tackle position, Riley Reef is getting up there in age. Do you think he sticks around with the team next year? probably not, right? Let's go back to our grades on tackles.
Riley Reef.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You gave Riley Reef a B. I gave him a B. Maybe as an insurance policy, he sticks around.
Nope.
Larry Borum. Do you think Larry Borum makes the team next year? Is he that kind of gets into the draft, right? And free agency. So, I mean, is he a bubble player going in next year is the question, I guess?
I think Larry Borum has a little stand ground because we've seen him at different spots. I think it's worth, unless you can find another swing tackle. I think that's what they project Larry Borum to be. He's not a starter, but he's a guy that can you can put in the game and get you out of a game. That's what a swing tackle does. Somebody gets hurt, I need to know that you're capable at each end. Who was that trying to bet me?
Sophisticated thoughts. Nomad, friendly bet. Harry outperforms Pringle for the rest of the season.
You want to bet?
I'll take that bet.
You want to bet? You want to bet that N'Keal Harry outperforms Byron Pringle?
I would say I'm going to go along with sophisticated thoughts and say I would take that friendly bet to say that Harry outperforms Pringle the rest of the season. Yes.
Dude, here's the thing. They play teams before you jump out on that walk the plank with the blindfold and a cigarette. Let me tell you something. They play a couple of defenses. They play some defenses that are hell on you as far as pass rushing goes and running the ball. There's going to be a lot of breakdowns Justin Fields is going to have to encounter. And the king of the breakdown and keeping yourself alive when the play breaks down is hands down Byron Pringle. So if you feel safe making that bet, you go ahead, brother. Put your wager up there.
Let's just go down the list here, guys. Everyone in chat, I want to know what you think. Byron Pringle, keep or leave? Byron Pringle, keep or leave? Look at the list here, guys, in chat, and let me know what you think. Byron Pringle, keep or leave. N'Keal Harry, keep or leave. Dante Pettis, keep or leave. EQ, keep or leave. Rose or thorn, as Kitty would like to call it. Rose or thorn? Is it a rose or a thorn on your side?
I'm keeping him.
EQ, I'm keeping him. So for me, I'm getting rid of Byron. I'm keeping N'Keal. Dante is a wait and see. EQ, I'm going to keep. Ryan Griffin, no. Riley Reef, I might.
All the tight ends can go minus. I mean, they're replaceable. All of them are just guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the tight ends, other than Cole Kmet, man, they're just guys.
Yeah. John, obviously, DHC is a keep. Bobby Massey, what the fuck is that? What year is this?
What the fuck?
How is Bobby Massey on this list? There's no Bobby Massey on the fucking Bears.
You got a hybrid roster.
Am I wrong here?
You got a 2016/2022.
It's got Nathan Peterman on the fucking list. This can't be wrong.
Like a wolf dog or something.
You can't count on anything on the fucking internet these days, right? Fake news. Nicholas Morrow.
Morrow.
I think he's someone
He'll be a backup.
Matthew Adams, goodbye.
Probably.
Joe Thomas.
Probably gone.
Dakota Dozier, goodbye, my friend.
I don't know.
But
No, he's gone. Oh, bullshit.
Patrick Scales.
Now, come on, let's just go through that shit.
Yeah, Patrick Scales is going to stay.
Javin White, we haven't seen all year. He's gone.
Damn, he looked good though in preseason. Schofield, is he going to stick around?
You know what, man? I'm gonna tell you something about Michael Schofield. The whole city wanted to put his head on a pike when he played right guard. When he played right guard, he sucked bad. I mean, real bad. But when they put him over at left guard, what did he do?
The world changed, didn't it?
He played his ass off over there. So if you're entertaining any of the let Whitehair go and give some of these other guys a chance, maybe you give your Tyree Carter a chance, but you back him up with a way cheaper Michael Schofield.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Keep Schofield. What about Dieter? Keep him, right?
Dieter is he's probably the most intriguing guy on the team as far as the fan base goes.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued by him. But it goes back to what I was saying earlier in the show. It's more to playing center than blocking people and doing that kind of shit. It's very cerebral.
Line calls, right?
Yes,
all that shit.
You have to understand it and know how to adjust to what the fuck is happening in front of you. Maybe he hasn't reached that plateau yet, and not saying that he can't be a player someday and somewhere, but right now, according to what they've been seeing, maybe he's not there yet.
It's the quarterback of the offensive line.
You got to know what the fuck's going on and be able to adjust to it and make the right call.
Right. If you're not a good quarterback of the offensive line, you're not going to be a good quarterback of the offensive line. And we think that he has what it takes to be that. Just needs to get some time learning that because he's so green to it.
Right.
So definitely keep him. Kari Blazing Game. What do you think about him?
If we're going to move forward in the West Coast offense, which is what we ran the first 4 games of the season, and it's not currently what we're running out of most of the time. It's mostly the RPO system that runs out of Baltimore. If we're going to use the West Coast system a certain percentage of the time, he is necessary unless you see another fullback somewhere that can give you more than a Kari Blasting game. We need a fullback.
Mm-hmm. So is that something that might be an upgrade for you moving forward?
I mean, I haven't seen enough of him. Kari Blasting game is fine to me thus far.
So keep
him.
Kari Blazing Game is a keep for me. I'm sure he is for you.
Yeah.
Trevon Wesco, I think it's a keep for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Out of all the backup tight ends, he's the one because of what he can do in the blocking game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has shown a lot in the limited time he's been on the team since they picked him up.
They value that on this team.
I think Mike Pinnell and Armin Watts, I think we can both agree are a keep, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Angelo Blackson.
No, wait a minute. Maybe not Mike Pinnell. Mike Pinnell, he's probably going to get replaced by somebody like a Alvin Tomlinson or somebody like that. He's not going to be here.
But he might be a camp body at the very least, right?
I doubt it.
No? Okay.
Mm-mm.
I think he might be. Armin Watts, I think, is going to stick around. What do you think about Armin Watts?
Definitely. I think he's a rotational guy. I think he's going to play in this defense in some shape or form. Maybe not where he's at right now. I think he'll be a more productive player once they get better players.
I agree. I 100% agree. I think if you could if you could put a Jalen Carter next to him, I think it would make him explosive because of the opportunities he would get from the double teams and stuff from the other side.
Or
not a Hall of Famer but just explosive. He could be a really good explosive, like rotational player that could be very helpful for us. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
I was saying maybe a DeForest Buckner. You know, he'll transcend. I know everybody's going to be like, well, he's under contract in Indianapolis. Indianapolis is on his way to the shitter. So we'll see what happens there.
That's true. I mean, they are for everything that Chris Ballard has done in Indianapolis. Yes, fuck. I mean, it's not his fault.
No, it ain't.
Andrew Luck retired on him, but the quarterback situation has been atrocious there. I'm actually kind of sad to see that Reich lost his job as the head coach of that team because of the circumstances that he's been given. Because I think he was a good head coach. I really can't believe that they fired him mid-season like that. That's kind of a joke to me.
Well, let me get 2 cents in, because I've been waiting on this conversation all night, and this is what I talk about when I was talking to you earlier about the connections that Eberflus has to Indianapolis. It's going to be tremendous when this thing falls apart, which I think is going to happen in Indianapolis. I think they're going to be regime change, and there's going to be guys that are going to want out. They're not going to want to be part of a rebuild. Mm-hmm. And here's what I think is going on. Frank Reich deserves all of the criticism when it comes to the quarterback, and that's the only thing that has handicapped and hamstrung these guys. They had a to me, I was ready to anoint them to the Super Bowl with what I saw on film. If they had the right quarterback,
right?
Frank Reich went into the offseason last
probably
year
pounding on the table for each quarterback, right?
He pounded on the table for Carson fucking Wentz.
Okay, enough said.
Carson Wentz, when the moment is tight and all the chips are in the middle of the table, that motherfucker gets cross-eyed and pigeon-toed and can't hit the side of a fucking barn. This dude, when you need it most, he is gonna fail you.
And he's a locker room cancer.
He got on the table for Carson Wentz. Not only Carson Wentz, he got back on the table for Matt Ryan. And what did that cost him?
Well, no, let's go back. It was before Carson Wentz. It was another aging quarterback who was about to retire, and what's his name from San Diego? Phillip Rivers.
He was better than both of them put together.
He was, but still, you're like, he thought the team was so ready. Why the fuck are we talking about Indy? But he thought the team was so ready. We can just instantly add Phillips Rivers to the conversation, and we can win us, get to the playoffs. That didn't work, and he's been like trying to hamper the team with all of these veteran quarterbacks when he needs to just. I shouldn't say hamper, because if you think you have a winning window, you're going to want to do that, right? But it hasn't worked out for him. And I love Chris Ballard. I hope he doesn't lose his job over this, because I think he's done a really good job. He was just given a shitty end of the stick with Luck retiring, and that sucks for him.
I want to get to sophisticated thoughts as a statement up there. I want to get to that real quick, and I don't want to keep you on here longer than you want to be. But listen, man, there's a thing that happened in Indianapolis. I thought they had a 2-3 year window. I thought they were a running back short at one time, and then they got number 28. I forget his name.
Miles Sanders?
No, that's 26 in Philly. Whatever his name is, they got him. Okay, they're right there. Now all they got to do is get the quarterback. They came up short every time, but that's going to happen. I don't think any of this is Chris Ballard's fault. I think that dude is a hell of a team builder, and this dude can draft his ass off. I don't think they do themselves a favor by letting him go. If they do, it's going to be to benefit somebody else. But Eberflus put together a championship defense in Indianapolis, and some of those guys are not going to want to be a part of a rebuild, which looks like what they're heading towards, and they're going to want out. And I'm looking at DeForest Buckner as one.
So you think that they would want to trade him or cut him, or what are your thoughts on retaining him?
There's a couple of schools of thought that comes with him, because I've seen arguments about, okay, they can just cut him and it might cost them this against the salary cap, or they could just different thing. I don't know how any of that shit really works, but I know that they're gonna have respect for him. And if he goes to the GM and says, you know what, man, hey, I appreciate everything that you guys have brought to the table and the opportunities you provided me with, but they're gonna want to follow Eberflus. They're gonna want to follow Eberflus, And I'm telling you, it's going to be a few guys, him being one. He may be one of those salary cap situation. They just release him. He might be one of those guys.
How do you feel about the hits principle at this point in the season? Do you think that DeForest Buckner is someone who is so bought into that he would jump ship to come to the Bears if given the chance? Or do you feel like that's, after this many games that it's like it's still working?
He's a witness, Shorty. He's seen what happens when it comes together. And he knows that coach knows what he's doing. And he's looking over here before, let's just say if we didn't have Justin Fields. And they're seeing they watch the games just like everybody else. And they see how competitive these dudes are without the right personnel here. They see how competitive this team can be. We had no business being in some of these games. But it's the competitive nature of this team and being willed by a quarterback that's transcendent. You don't think they see this stuff like we do?
And you can take it a step further by saying we had no business to be in some of these games, yet we should have won most of those games.
Yeah, you can say that same thing. In the same breath, you can say that. And so you think these guys that play the game, they don't see that?
Right.
These guys know what Eberflus brings to the table, and they know what happens if everybody buys into what he's doing and what he brings to the table. Take what he's saying to the nth degree and give me your best effort. And if all 11 guys do that, we got something special. They've witnessed that. You don't think they want to play in that again?
I think you said it yourself once. It was the name of a show on Bears Country Podcast. The buy-in is 53 men deep.
Oh, yeah.
Something or other. There was another phrase line to that, and it worked.
It was real.
You could tell that the buy-in was there. And to what you're saying, right now, the buy-in is still there. They are in every game they're playing. You know that these next 4 games, they're not going to come out there trying to lose. They're going to, we're probably going to lose. There's going to be a game here where we're going to lose another draft position, even though we lost one overnight without playing a game. That this team is going to upset either a team who is looking past them because of their record or just flat out the buy-in proving to be the reason why they're winning. And if that is the reason, if it's the buy-in and not the overlooking of the team, looking at this 3-10 team going, oh shit, we're playing so-and-so next, then that is the true sign of a winning team and how you build that organization moving forward. And when you are going to end the season, you want it to be on a high. And if you can get one or two, let's just say they beat the fucking Bills. What is that going to? That's going to piss off a huge portion of the fan base, but it's going to make another huge portion of the fan base go, holy shit, we just beat the fucking Bills. And that's going to do the same thing for the team. And moving forward, everyone's going to, and that side of the mind frame, such as the team and those fans who think that way, are going to be, that's going to move the team forward to the next season going, look, we just beat the Bills when they were they were going into the playoffs as one of the hottest teams, one of the best teams. Or, if they could even beat the Bills and the Eagles, or if they can just sneak out a win against the Lions just to shut Don Burr up, that'd be fine. But no matter what it is, if they get one more win out of this season, it's going to be something positive.
Hold on, Shorty. Let me help you out here. Because I want to challenge anybody in this chat, including you, Shorty. If anybody can literally tell me, with all these losses, give me one game in one situation where you have literally seen these guys flinch. Give me one game. Give me one game where you've seen I give.
Nope.
Exactly. That's called buy-in.
There's only 2 games that I can think of that they weren't pragmatically in it from a certain point. Like that would be the the first Packers game, and that would be the Jets game. Every other game that they lost, they should have or could have easily won, if not for a couple of bad calls or, just it's an NFL season. That's how it goes for every other fucking team too. It's not just our team. So you're right. I mean, they were in every single game, and the Jets game. I mean, I think it's just
B minor says Dallas. I would beg to differ. I think they took a big shot to the chin, open-handed right hand to the chin, and hit him back harder.
Then they just came back like, what was it, 28 something? They came back.
They just took a big shot to the
chin. They scored like 28 points in like
that would be the game I would circle as my example that they don't flinch.
Exactly. That
would be the game.
And if you look at the games before, like the Packers game that they lost with the goal line stance, the fucking Commanders game. In fact, there was one thing I wanted to talk about, which was the highest, like the best game or the worst game or the highest point, the worst point. And for me, I'm going to say that it's a toss between the Commanders game and the Dolphins game. When Chase Claypool had the no call on the PI at the end of the game, it was clearly a PI, and they were driving down, and they were being a fan in the stadium. You could feel the momentum there, and you knew that they were just going, they were clicking, and like we're gonna win this game. I was sitting there right there with Aldo to my right, and we're gonna win this fucking game. And the PI no call, we lose it. Bullshit. The Commanders game, the fucking defensive line, or they were on the goal line. The offense was on the goal line, 3 times in that game and could not score. The Packers game, the first Packers game, they were on the line and they could not score, even though Justin Fields did score on the quarterback sneak. These are, I mean, right there's 3 wins. We're 6 and whatever the fuck we'd be. I have terrible math. But add 3 more wins to that. It'd be 6 and 7, right? Yeah.
Let me frame this up the right way, because I don't think people fully understand what they're seeing right now. I don't think they fully appreciate what is being put forward, what is being put on the table right now. We're talking about a team full of C players. Right. You have a few guys that are potentially blue chip guys in this team, but the rest of these guys in totality they are a C level roster, and they're going toe to toe with dogs, man. Dogs. I'm talking about big old giant pit bulls and freaking massives.
On this list is a bunch of 1-year players.
Man, these dudes, that tells you everything you need to know about what they are establishing as a foundation. These dudes are going to be crazy good. When you put talent in replacement of a lot of these dudes you are scrolling down on the screen will not be there, and they're going to replace them with quality caliber football players that can get you over the hump. When they put that, you add talent to what they are establishing as a culture, dude, and you have a quarterback that don't want to let you flinch. He's not going to let you flinch. Dude, we in store for something fucking special, and I'm telling you that out of my soul. Everybody in this chat, you don't understand quite what they have put together. These dudes are going to be special when they get talent.
100% agree with you. Nomad. Let's finish off this. Our free agents that the Bears are coming up to in 20. The actual team. We have. We were last talking about Angelo Blackson, so we have Taco Charleston down to Sam Mustafer, and then let's kill this show. We can continue talking about this on a different show, with getting us into the draft picks and stuff that in our draft position, because it has changed. And we can talk about that before we end the show, but we're going on 3 hours now, so I know Kitty is sitting over there in a different room going, shut the fuck up right now and get off the fucking air. So
all right, let's put a bow
do
on
this
it.
really quick. So let's just talk about really quick. Taco Charlton is a guy that I was very happily excited to see that they signed somewhere along in this season. And he's played fairly well when he's been in the game. Is that a guy that you keep or retain or keep or leave?
That's a guy you at least bring back and let him get in camp and let him compete with. You don't let him go in free agency. You try to keep him around so he get a fair shot in camp. I would keep him around just to see what happens when he got more talent around him.
Mm-hmm. I would agree, 100%. I was very excited to see when they got him. So I think you got to give him another rotation in the system to see what he has. Dane Cruikshank's kind of been disappointing, huh?
I wouldn't say disappointing. I would say unlucky more than anything this year because he hasn't been able to get over the injury bug, which will in turn probably cost him a roster spot. And, he's got the talent. He just can't stay on the field. Mm-hmm. He's a good football player, especially at safety. And he has a lot to bring to the table, but if he's going to be injured that much, why would you not bring somebody else and give somebody else a chance? I think his injuries are going to cost him a chance to compete for a spot.
I 100% agree. I think the addition of Hicks in the draft, I think that's going to. He's not a cornerback, by the way. He's a safety. I think that he's gone. Justin Lane, he's gone. Josh Blackwell, though. That makes me put my pen in my mouth.
If he's done anything, he has warranted an opportunity to be able to come back to this team and compete in camp. If he's done nothing, he has earned an opportunity to come play in camp and get a job.
I am gonna damn well agree with you on that. This is gonna bring us to the final fucking anomaly to the entire last couple of seasons that everyone wants to bitch about, Nomad. Sam Mustipher is going to be a free agent after this season. Guys, I want to know what you think in chat. Send your comments in. Do we keep Sam Mustipher? Come on, Nomad.
Man, listen. Sam Mustipher, year 3. It's much better than Sam Mustipher year 1 and year 2. So what do you see? You see the trajectory going which way, up or down? That's right. Up. So that guy's just constantly getting better, and you listen to him talk, and I was so glad to listen to him on his presser today. And everybody was like, I seen somebody say, as soon as Sam Mustipher forgotten the presser, I turned it off. Listen, you did yourself a disservice, man. He went in that presser and he pointed out exactly what he knows is at flaw, and he's working on it. And you have a guy with that kind of mindset, and everybody, even the coach, says he's the toughest motherfucker out there that wants to get better and is willing to put in the work to get better. He didn't go on a fucking vacation to Cabo. He stayed at home and he evaluated himself. I want that dude on my team. I don't know if he's going to be the starter, but thus far, it wouldn't surprise me if he got better and made a run for it. I'm keeping him on my team as at least a backup.
Musty is sticking around on my team. Musty has proven to be a fucking... He's that reliable best friend that you have. Like that he's gonna come through for you when you need someone to help you move. That the guy that if you don't know how to change your tire, call up Musty. He's gonna help you with that. He's the all reliable guy on this fucking team who has done, and by the way, nothing to prove that he is nothing but a leader on this team. And I know there's been a lot of shit talk on Musty, and it's been rightfully warranted. But that doesn't mean that you can't grow and learn within your profession, just like anyone does. You might be terrible at your job the first 3 years that you do it, but by year 3 or 4, because it's a difficult job, you finally get it. Imagine going out and trying to be a fucking real estate agent. Cliff can tell you that, right, Cliff?
Hold on. He said you've been talking about Musty's mom. Hey, dude, you better watch your mouth, Cliff. She'll cactus jack your ass with a cast iron skillet right across your damn face.
We talk about Musty's mom.
You better watch your damn mouth.
Don't get wait, was it Musty's mom or Larry Borum's mom, or whose mom was it?
No, I think it was Larry Bourne's brother. She was going off, man.
Yeah.
Watch your
hilarious,
mouth.
Man.
She'll fuck you up.
But I think, like, literally, I think the time has come to stop shitting on Musty. I mean, the guy has proven from undrafted free agent to this point that he warrants, like, nobody's shitting on him anymore. He might have a bad game or a bad play, but everybody has a bad day and a bad moment. And if you can do your job fucking perfectly 100% of the time, I'd like you to give Elon Musk a call, because he could probably use you. So Musty has exceeded expectations this year. He's done nothing but climb the rope since he started with the team under the fucking Matt Nagy era.
I'm not even going to get into that. I have zero thought.
Yeah, so he went from that to this. Give him a fucking break, guys.
He'll end up on somebody else's team and grow into a Pro Bowler. That's what'll happen.
Exactly. Don't. So I say re-sign Musty. I think you agree, right, Nomad?
Definitely.
Well, dude, we're going on 3+ hours. I don't have any much more in me than this. We had more planned. We wanted to talk about moving forward from here. Who would we sign based on these numbers from our A through F grades? Who would we be looking into free agency? And just to kind of give you some examples of that, sorry, thank you, Kitty. I have some more. So I wanted to talk about the actual free agents that are coming up and what free agents that we can look into that might be able to replace some of these grades that I have made, and I know Nomad has made, and I'm sure you have made too. Keep track of those, because Thursday night on Bears Country Podcast, we're going to have Last Call at Hallis Hall. And if you'd like to join me, Nomad, we can finish this up, go through the players that are coming up in free agency, as well as the players that are coming up in draft, and how it pertains to our current draft position, which at this moment sits at 3, even though we haven't even played a fucking game. That doesn't make sense to me, but yeah, man, I'm just an idiot. So we can kind of talk about all of that as well. Nomad.
I'll tell you what, if you want to do that on Last Call, let Cliff and those guys get their shine on. I'll wait in the wings and let them do their thing. And if you want some additional commentary about it, just let me know.
That sounds good to me, my friend. Nomad, I really appreciate you coming on tonight with me on the Ballroom Network, Bears Country Podcast. I mean, it's long due, so thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been a great conversation with you. I think the chat loved it too. We had an excellent conversation about this team at our bye week position, and just want to thank you so much.
Man, I'm more than happy to be on here, man. I appreciate what we do together, man. I know it's not quite. It's what we do is I think it's special, man, because it doesn't really require thought. It just requires a little patience and a little understanding and a little bit of let's just not step on each other and let's be a duo. I think it works well. I think it's special.
I think it's special too, man. And I want to thank you again. Seriously, everybody in chat tonight, you've been amazing. Thank you all so much for joining us on the Ballroom Network Bears Country Podcast. Don't forget, we do have another channel on Bears Country Podcast as well. I put out videos every play of Justin Fields, every play the running backs. I have all 22 videos coming out. They're a lot of work, so I plan on getting them all out for the entire season, so look forward to those. And make sure you like and subscribe to the Barroom Network and to Bears Country Podcast as well. We all love you and appreciate you so much. Without you, we would not exist. Nomad, you ready for the 1, 2, 3 Bears breakdown?
Do it up.
It's been a while, baby. Ready? 1, 2, 3 Bears!